Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome back to another episode. And I am so excited to present our first um, Skype show, I guess. So I teased it in the last video, and more than likely, I'm probably going to post both of them consecutively. So if you watch the episodes in order, then you'll see the tease, and then when you're done watching it, then you can actually see the Skype interview um, with, well, not really interview, but just I guess like a co-host type situation with my friend John. Uh-oh, I got a message. And, oh, look who this message is from. Oh, sweet. It is from this guy here, Jay Hernandez Tattoos and Illustrations. He does illustrations. And the other exciting news I have is I have a new logo for the show. So thank you so much, Jay Hernandez. Go check him out on, what is his page? I want to give you the whole thing, make sure it's correct. Jay Hernandez Illustrations on Instagram. So go check him out if you want any kind of graphic design. So if you want to get, for a website or, um, to get merch made up. So you can have like an online store with your company logo. If you own a company and you got a bunch of employees and you want to get them, some swag, show off the company name, definitely reach out to Jay Hernandez Illustrations on Instagram. And he did an amazing job. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I just said, hey, you know what, do some kind of just do me with like cartoonish or whatever. Maybe like a microphone and headphones or something. But what he did was really, really good. Really good. I mean, it's better than anything I could have, because it's simple, it's classy, it's, I don't know, he did a great job. So yeah, so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, so this is my Skype, I guess, chat with my friend John. And we talked about a bunch of stuff, like having kids. Um, Definitely a lot of politics. Uh, Talk about COVID, the whole pandemic thing. It was a good time. I mean, it was the first kind of like trial run of doing the Skype thing. I'm using the GoPro as a webcam because it's much better than the webcam I have. And Not sure. I recorded the audio with this microphone for me. John's audio's, well, that's the thing is now. So this kind of like a merging my my two videos. I have the show now, but I used to have the sound, like tutorials and stuff. So for those people, I'll give you a little tidbit of that. Okay. So I I I didn't know how to make the entire Skype call sound good. I was just going to record straight from the laptop into the Tascam and just try to tweak the audio because I knew it would be, it's from the same source, right? But, because when I go into edit, I can put this audio in one of two ways, or the only two simple ways I could think of. One's really simple, which is just to put this audio just on top of it. Just all the wavelengths are going to match up perfect. So there might be like a slight echoey accent to it because it's going to be the room sound. But I think As long as the volume is, for both of us, I think as long as I can kind of, I don't know. So I can do it that way, which is the easiest way, which is just pop it right on. But I could, anytime I'm just talking, I can just lower the volume of the Skype call and just, and keep mine the same level. And if we're both talking, then I'll have to leave it alone so that his volume doesn't change. So I haven't edited it yet. So I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. So I'm just recording this little bit because we just got done not that long ago. I'm just gonna put the whole thing together and yeah, and see what happens. So here it is, the Skype chat with my friend John. I hope you enjoy and come back and see what else is going on. All right, subscribe, put some comments out there, reach out to me on Instagram, Ponzi Scream Show. On Instagram, you can hit me up there or look at the stupid pictures I put up there. Or you could email me, ponzischemeshow@gmail.com. And I don't know. See what happens. All right, guys. Until the next time, don't get schemed. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my show. You're my first guest.
Ooh, the inauguration.
Yeah,
Awesome. Been a
yeah.
while.
So,
As you can see, I'm growing some chops.
yeah,
Yep. I
got the
can't grow the
chops,
beard because of my job, so I got to grow the chops.
right? Well,
You
'cause
know.
you have to wear a face mask. That's why, right?
Yeah, I got to wear that respirator only for
Yeah.
like 5 minutes a day, and I still have to shave. I'm like, oh.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Well, I
so
mean,
how?
like firefighters have to do that. They can't have beards at all.
Yeah, because they got to put the full face on too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're a Yankee, they're not allowed to have facial hair, from what I hear.
Only when Steinbrenner was around, when Don
Yeah.
Mattingly, right?
And they have to wear suits when they go out to like press conferences.
Oh man.
That's well,
Uh,
from what I heard, but I'm not a sports fan, so I could really care less.
Yeah, I stopped following them a couple of years ago. All of it just became such a waste of time for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and your Jets, man, like
Dude,
they
the
won
Jets
two
are born to
games.
die. They're not made to win. They're just there. They're like the what would be the equivalent in high school? They're not even the misfits. You know, they just suck.
They're the AV club.
But the AV club can play volleyball better than the Jets can play football.
they're the chess club, the drama, the debate team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't watch any of that stuff anymore. It just
yeah,
didn't do any good for me. And I got the three girls, so I have no time for anything.
yeah. Well, but that's so much more important anyway.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I'd much rather be spending it with my kids than
Yeah.
watching the game. Unless I go to say like a live game with friends like you or Bob or something like that, and we go all have a good time and we have a good time and it's fun.
Well,
But
because that's an experience. But like,
yeah,
if you have nobody to, watch the game with, it kind of sucks.
yeah.
You
It's
know.
just you're just watching. I ended up when all the COVID hit, I ended up watching the Mets classic games that was on SNY because those are the only good games to watch. So like,
Mm.
at least I saw winning or crazy interesting games. The rest of the games are just like garbage, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, it's
uh,
definitely good to see you, though, man. Like, I think the last time I saw you was for your birthday party at your
was it my
house.
birthday party?
I
Did you
think it was
come?
somebody's birthday. I'm pretty sure it was yours. No, yours is in January. Your
No,
birthday's in January.
mine is in July.
July. Oh,
Last
so it
time
probably
you
was yours then.
was it summertime or wintertime?
It was summer. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then
Because
yeah.
Carol's parents were there,
Mm-hmm.
and Vin and your aunt and uncle were there,
Oh yeah, it was my
and
birthday.
Tyler
Yep.
and Bob. Yeah, yeah, that was the last time I saw you. And man, I should not. You know what? I'm not even gonna say this. Never mind.
I know what you're talking
But
about.
you know what I was gonna say, yeah. But man, it
Oh,
was good, man. Like just jamming with everybody, and your in-laws were into it. Like
oh
they were
yeah,
actually like they had their
yeah.
headphones on and they were bopping along, and they gave us well, they gave us standing ovation because they were standing already.
Oh yeah,
But
they love that stuff, man.
count it.
Well, Carol's brother is a conductor in a symphony. You
Oh,
know,
really?
yeah.
Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
music runs there, and they love music. They love any kind of music. I took when I was jamming with the other guys, um, with Bill and Mike and them and Ray. We Carol's mother came to a couple of shows when she was here with us, so she's all into that. You know, just to see you play. It won't be saying "Angel of Death" is my favorite song from Slayer,
Right.
but she just wants to see him play.
Yeah. Well, even at your wedding, I I DJ the wedding in case anyone wants to know. And
Yes. Oh,
I
sure.
had fun, man.
Oh, I had a
And
blast too.
but once you got the microphone and started singing Dio, now was it the Pat Boone version? Is that what you
Yes,
did?
yes, it
Yeah,
was the
I
classic.
knew it. Oh my god, I had quite a few beers as well,
Oh
and
man,
I just remember Denise, my wife, yelling, like, "Honey, you're singing too loud. You're singing louder than John, and he's got the microphone." I'm like, "Uh oh." Yeah, we had fun that day.
yeah, man.
Oh my
I
god.
lost my shirt that day too. I put the shirt on top of the car when we were on the way home and it fell off somewhere.
Oh my. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, dude, didn't notice until I tried to return the suit and I said, "Oh no, where's the shirt?"
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was a good day. John's got videos of me singing and he sent them to me. I got them on my computer somewhere. It's scary.
Yeah. Well, I think I have them too. I think you put them on a thumb drive for me because I
Uh-huh.
remember watching them.
Oh yeah, I probably did.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I got a video. I think John has a video too, because he took video with his camera of that day.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah, that was one of the best days of my life. So it's
Yeah.
it was
I
awesome.
remember it was funny because when the priest did the whole, like, you can kiss the bride or whatever, I started clapping because I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, I'm in a church. I'm not supposed to. But I was so excited for you. And
Yeah.
Denise was like, no, stop it, stop it, shut up. And the whole place was silent. And I'm sure in the video somewhere, you
Hmm.
can hear somebody clapping. That was me. And I didn't mean to, but I was really excited for you and I was happy for you. And like, it was very touching,
Yeah, it was,
you
man. I
know?
was crying half the way through it. I couldn't
Yeah.
couldn't hold it back. You know.
Yeah. So,
Oh. So how's the COVID treating you down there?
good, man. Like, it has not affected me one bit. I don't leave the house as it is, whether there's a
Hmm.
pandemic or not. And you know, I just try to keep to myself. I don't go anywhere. And if I do, I just try to keep my distance from anybody, But honestly, like, thankfully, it hasn't affected, well, it has affected my job only in the sense that, uh, because when you're in the private jet field, profession and things happen, the only thing that saved us was the fact that domestic flights were canceled. So people, if they wanted to travel, they needed a private jet. So that's the
Uh,
only thing that saved us. But I lost about 30 grand a year just in overtime.
oh man, that's
So,
a killer.
but I still have to look on the bright side and be positive and say I could have lost my job like the 18 people in my department did.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know Now for a while they were making more money than they would have if they were working, but now that $600 is gone,
Hmm.
that extra 600 a week is gone. They're But still, I'm thankful that I still have a job, you know so,
I don't know.
and I like it. And that's a plus, is that I actually like my job.
Mhm.
And You know, it like one of the worst things in the one of the worst feelings in the world is to have a job that you're miserable.
Yeah, we've
And
both been there.
yeah, I mean, I remember driving home on the parkway, you know, or well, actually driving to work on the parkway and thinking, if I just jerk my wheel to the left a little bit, I'll get into an accident and I won't have to go to work.
Oh man, that's
If
one
I
of them.
just drive my car into a ditch, I could say you know, black ice.
Well, you don't have to do that much for Jersey. You can just make a sneeze and cause a 10-car
That's
pileup.
true. You know how many times I almost died because I had like a sneeze that wouldn't come out, and you know, and you can't keep your eyes open and focus on the road, and we have so
Yeah.
many hills and turns. God forbid, you know.
Oh man.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so no, COVID hasn't bothered me a bit. There were a couple scares that we had with Denise because you know she got sick and she's at high risk.
Hmm.
You know, because you know she has some conditions and
She got sick or she came positive with it? She got sick with something
no,
else?
no, no. She got sick, but not from COVID. Because
Oh, okay.
out of the 3 times that she felt a little something, something,
Hmm.
she went and got a test, and they all came back negative. She did the same day, and the PRC that you
Hmm.
know takes like a week or whatever. So, because what happened was is on Thanksgiving, my niece, we were there for Thanksgiving, and then the Monday after that, my sister-in-law called and said, "Oh, by the way, your niece is tested positive." So we were now I keep my distance, you know, no
Yeah.
matter where we go, whatever. So I knew there was probably no I had no risk.
Hmm.
But my mother-in-law, which, you know, she's a cancer survivor, and ovarian cancer, and so she's at high risk, and you know she's 72 or whatever,
Hmm.
you know, and so I was more worried about my mother-in-law, you know, and plus we're in the same household, you know, she's on the first floor, you know, we have the second floor, you know,
Yeah.
so I had to like, you know, we were trying to protect ourselves so that we didn't give it to her, you know,
Yeah, I
so
think I think that's where a lot of people fell into. They really disregarded, not say disregarded, but their immediate health wasn't of a concern as it was the people around them, whether
mm-hmm,
it be pertaining to senior citizens or the young children. That was
right,
definitely one of my fears. Not that I'm overtly fearing this thing that's going around. I understand it's real, but it has not affected me or my family um, to the point of death like other people have been affected.
right,
And I work in a very enclosed environment, like 250 union employees. Um, we had up to maybe like 30 cases of COVID positives, and no one got any ill effects to the point where they couldn't come back to work
okay,
for good. So seeing that every day and navigating saying, oh, you can't go out to the mall, you can't go out to the bar, you can't go out to this place, you can only go to Walmart, Costco, Target, and you can only go on one exit. So it's just me trying to wrap my head around it. It just it doesn't, none of this stuff adds up. As real as it
yeah,
is, none of it adds up for me. you know
yeah,
I mean, you can barely go out in New York. Cuomo
yeah.
just said we can go up to maybe 30 or 35% capacity in the restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like I think we have so much hostility now between people that like, dude, I almost lost my mind 2 weeks ago. try and walk into Target. Well, they closed the mall entrance to Target. Okay. And I'm just like, why in the world would you do this? What does that serve? What does that serve? You know, you're not going to stop the virus from spreading. You're going to concentrate it into one area. You close off all the exits. It's not doing anything. Don't tell me there's science behind it. No, there's stupidity behind it to me. You know. So then we like fine. So we walk out. We're up on the top floor. We walk out of Target. We walk by the main entrance, the eatery place. By Barnes and Noble. And dude, we're walking, and I'm saying, Juliana, hold my hand. We're in a parking lot. It's not good out here. It's like it's crazy, because people are driving all over the place. Well, we walk behind a car. We're right next to the front door, and some lady starts backing up with my daughter right next to the bumper. Okay, and I just lose my fucking mind. It's like I
Oh
don't I
no.
don't think I can be in public right now because I just have too much spent up. You know.
Right.
So I scream at her. I was like, "Hey!" And I fucking laid into her. I stopped her because I screamed so loud through the car, like the time when I told Chris to get out of the wheelchair in Harbor
Yeah.
Freight, like that, like worse than that.
Yeah.
So I scared the piss out of that lady, and I told her, I said, "You backing up? My daughter's right here. You motherfucker! You goddamn whore!" And I'm just flipping the fuck out, go crazy. I couldn't even get words out. I was just like, And she was like, "Oh, I stopped." I said, "You should have never fucking gone, you fucking whore." Just lost my fucking mind. Just fucking
Mm.
couldn't even have a conversation because I was so pissed. You know? And like I don't want to go out. I go out around here, around where I live. I can go to Walmart, I can go to my mall, I can go to wherever I need to go because I go in, I get my shit, I go home. No one wants to fight me,
Right.
or I'm not in a danger zone. Yeah,
Yeah.
But like down there, it's just like I was ready to rip this lady's head off, you know. And am I wrong? I don't know. If my daughter got crushed, I don't think I'd be wrong, you know.
No.
But what do you?
Yeah.
I just
Well, I see. I think a lot of the way that like the malls or whatever are businesses are handling this is not necessarily because it's to lower the spread. I think it's more because a lot of people are dumb and you can't trust them to do the right thing. And so in order to control the morons, everyone has to suffer. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, we're not going to just let people walk through willy nilly. Let's at least control what exit and entrance they have. So at least, we have some kind of control over it.
Mhm.
But, so I don't think it's necessarily to help anything. I think it's just more like, you just can't trust people to do the right thing. Like, I mean, we can, because the thing is that everything could have stayed open, everything could have stayed normal.
everything should have stayed open.
If
Oh,
you
it's the
said,
worst
look,
thing that can happen to this whole country.
yeah, but I mean, if we would have said to people, and we did, if we said, look, if you go out, keep your distance, wear a mask, if you don't feel good, stay home, you know, but and everything would have been fine. Everything could have been open. We could have kept people distant from, like table to table, try to control it, try to sanitize everything. But you can't trust people because even when we told people don't go anywhere, it's a lockdown. What happened? You had these giant house parties. You had weddings going on. You had funerals going. I mean, that I understand funeral, but you had these big gatherings. So even when you instituted a rule to say, hey, stay home, don't go anywhere, people still did it. Imagine if you said, yes, go ahead, go out there, but stay safe. People would have felt even more comfortable to not do the right thing. So I think it's more of like trying to get the morons on board and try to, save those people.
But now, how much of
But you know
that?
what? It should be,
How much though do you think that we're affected because now we're forced to basically stay in our homes, not allowed to
mm,
go anywhere. We've been in for a year now, or almost. No, yeah, it was 20.
Almost
Was
a
it
year,
20?
yeah.
Almost a year.
Yeah.
We can't breathe outside air. We can't leave our house. Cuomo at one time almost wanted us to wear masks in the goddamn house. It was like mask in the car, mask everywhere. I'm like, oh, people who drive with their mask on, like, no, you should just. Where's the shovel so I can hit you on the head? You
Yeah,
know?
that's a little strange, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're
But
like an Uber driver, then I get it. But yeah, if you're in your own car by yourself, no.
exactly. But
Yeah.
so we're not exposing ourselves to outside at all. So we lose all that bacteria we're going to breathe in. We lose all of our immune defenses we're going to build up just because we're exposed to the outside, the other stores, and everyone else. Now you open up, and this actually happened when we went into the first lockdown up here. My girls were still in school because they're in a private school, and they were like, "We don't have to do this. We're not going to follow it." Um, but something happened with the Supreme Court where they started. They said you can test along with what the public schools do, you know. And me thinking, I'm just thinking they just want the numbers so they can close the school down. Sure enough, when they started testing the school, they said, "Oh, we got to close. We have 2 cases." All right, so they closed the school for like 2.5 weeks. Okay, and this was in the winter when I was shut down for 3 weeks at my job because we had 28 cases.
Uh,
You know, so now everyone's forced to stay home, to stay away from this virus, to stay away from anything, so you don't spread it. But now you're only breathing in your home air. The second you go outside, it's like the boy in the bubble. You take the bubble off, you get sick.
right.
And that happened in my daughter's school to where they were closed for the 3 weeks. When they went back, they tested. Oh crap, someone had a case again. Well, of course someone's going to have a case, you know.
Yeah.
And the same way
Yeah.
when Cuomo said at the end of the summer, when he started testing schools, well, you haven't tested the kids all year. Of course, someone's going to have it. We know someone's going to have it. So why are we
Yeah.
going through this nonsense? You know. But how much more do you think you're affected by staying home rather than going out and grinding every day and building up your immune system? You know?
Yeah. Well, see, I worry about me because like I never leave the house. I never go anywhere. So like I worry about like if I come in contact with even someone that has just barely a cold, like am I going to get that because I'm not exposed to everyone's germs like I used to be,
Yeah, you can have a
you
bad
know?
reaction.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, when, somebody decides to go to some island, where there's a tribe of people that are still wearing like a piece of like a leaf for underwear, and then you get everybody sick because they're not used to our type of germs, you
Yeah.
know? I mean, this is a brand new thing. Like, I mean,
Well, it's
coronavirus
not
isn't
actually brand
new,
new. It's not
but
it's not new per se.
right. But this particular strain, the fact because this was from a laboratory. This was now I don't know, but from what I've seen, and it looks like it's been confirmed, is that this particular strain was in a laboratory and they made it ultra strong. Like they made it super, super strong to test to see how they could combat it. But somehow it got out, and now this isn't just a normal virus that's just happens in nature. This was born, not born in a laboratory, but this was like X-Men kind of like mutation, like where they forced it to replicate and get stronger and stronger and stronger so they could test it, and somehow it got out. Now that's not confirmed, but it looks like pretty much it is. That it didn't come from some what they call wet market or whatever, that it wasn't that this was right from a laboratory, because a lot of these virologists were saying that this thing could not be this strong in nature. This thing could not evolve like this just in nature. That this was definitely something that was manipulated. So, and that's why it hit us so hard. If this was just some random thing, I mean, the common cold is a coronavirus. That's what the flu is. It's a type of coronavirus. So we know how to deal with that stuff. I mean, there's no cure for the flu, there's no cure for the common cold, but we can deal with it. People can die from a common cold, people can die from the flu. But this is a whole other level. And so until people get a
But also, you got so much misinformation about all of it
oh,
going around.
of
You know,
course,
it's just
yeah,
it's mind-boggling. You know, you hear
yeah,
uh, they didn't talk about it when Trump was in office because Trump is the most the biggest enemy in the world. No matter what, everything is Trump's fault. Every single thing is Trump's fault. A lot of things are Trump's fault, but no. To the other side, every single problem in this world is blamed on Donald Trump. They didn't talk about where the virus really came from or how the virus was made. They were just saying Trump is the enemy during that time. Now there's more newscasts that are focused on this type of stuff. You know, there's so much misinformation about it from all sides, not just red and blue. Every person who's had a hand in this has got some kind of lie coming. Oh, sorry, I heard some things lying out their teeth for
yeah,
this. You know, and just the fact that when in the beginning it's like, oh, don't wear the mask. You don't need to wear the mask if you're healthy. You know, and I'm just like, whatever. And then it comes out later, a month later, oh, now you need to wear a mask. I'm like, well, what is it? Wear a mask or don't wear a mask? You know, if you just
yeah,
told us from the beginning, like he said, oh, we didn't want to scare you, or we wanted it to go to the frontline workers. You should have just come out on the news saying the masks are only for the people in the hospitals right now because they're the ones affected.
yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
just there's so much out there that you can't pin ever what the truth is ever going to be. It's like who killed Kennedy? We're never going to know that. Where did the coronavirus come in? We're never going to know that either. You know, and
yeah,
to say, quote, one of the greatest comedians of our time, George Carlin, never trust your government for anything. You know, it's just like
yeah,
I don't trust them for anything. I don't believe them for anything. You know,
yeah.
but it's crazy, and it's like we hear it every day. I mean, what Cuomo won a what did he win? Um, what's that prize? He won an award. He won an Emmy for his newscasts. He won an Emmy, a global
Oh,
Emmy, right?
okay.
I'm like, you give him an Emmy? Emmys are for fake stuff. Emmys are for TV, movies. No,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
Well, see, that's why I think because when because of that Legal Eagle channel, that's when I found out that a lot of these places um they're entertainment companies. They're not journalistic, they're not entities of journalism. They're for entertainment purposes. So I propose, and I'm putting this out there to everyone in the world, that there needs to be like a rating system. So everything you put out there, if it's true and it can be fact checked, and I know you don't like that term because it's been abused and overused, I get it. But if you can confirm that all the information you're putting out there is true and can be corroborated, you get this excellent review. So then when you want to go and get news, you go to the sources that have the best rating, right? And to make it even better, right? If it's proven that you're putting misinformation, you get fined by the FCC. What do you think of that? But for radio, it is. For radio, it is. If you start doing some shit, you get fined by the FCC. It should be like that for TV as well. Like you can't curse, you can't do because then you can get fined for that.
Yeah,
But
but the corporations own all the TV and the media stations. I don't think they're
right,
going to go that far because that's where their money is.
right.
You know,
But
they're going to
yeah,
put a block to that before you even think of it.
right.
You know,
But that's the thing is that there's no integrity left. There's
there is no
nothing.
integrity. Well,
There's no accountability left.
just think of whatever anyone thinks of Donald Trump. Did you happen to watch the speech before the insurrection, all that stuff? Did you happen to watch his speech?
Yeah, I did. I watched it live. As a matter of fact.
I watched the whole thing, you know, and nowhere did I feel like I needed to go down and break into the White House for anything. I hoped it would all go down to say they'd do the protest and we can actually see where the government works. But
Mm.
something happened to where it just completely broke down. So then we couldn't see, like it would have been the biggest thing in our history to to have this big challenge, whether it's bullshit or not, to be handled out civilly by our Democrats and Republicans, the people who we vote in office. But it didn't happen that way. But the way they put that stuff on trial and just the sheer stupidity that they think we're at, like when they showed what the misquoted, the mistimed posts on Twitter, and the blue check and that type of stuff, and literally when they had Trump saying, "Now go down, march," and they cut and they say "fight," and they cut and they say something else, and I watch it and I say, "No, you missed like a whole sentence." I'm not the most astute fellow, but it's like I can see that that's not right. So, as bad as you think Trump is, the other ones are just as bad. They're just mad that Trump was there in that spot. You know.
Yeah.
So who are you going to believe? It's like they said Trump lied all the time. Well, that may be. So do all those damn people. There's not an honest motherfucker there. There's not an honest person
Right.
in that
Yeah.
place. So don't sit here like if you want to be mad for Trump being president and doing some messed up stuff, that's fine. But don't just have your only argument being like, "Oh, he's a liar." You don't think Romney lies. You don't think McConnell lies. You don't think Pelosi lies. Like, don't be that stupid to me. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's
No,
like
I agree.
you're
Yeah.
never
No, but I
gonna
mean, as
have.
far as like the insurrection, if you want to call it that, I think that no matter what Trump would have said that day, still would have been the same. No matter what he said, he might not have even been there because all of this was set up weeks, months in advance. So, oh yeah, all that stuff, and it wasn't just Trump supporters. A few of them were, but a lot of them were just these groups of people waiting for a reason to do something. No matter what it was, they were looking for a reason. And as far as the tweets are concerned, you saw them. It's like as soon as Trump put out there, Mike Pence is a coward, they're reading it to the whole crowd on a megaphone. Let's get him. Hang Mike Pence. Like this dude, Mike Pence, it was like the little lapdog. And he was like, whatever you say, bro, whatever. He was in it for ride or die, man. He would have did anything for Trump. And the fact that Trump comes up, Mike Pence is a coward. That was pretty messed up. He didn't have to do that,
No,
you know.
no. But it's just like the whole last 4 years have been like that. It's one side
Yeah,
versus the other. It's like Rocky versus Drago. Just there's two forces beating the hell out of each other.
yeah,
And there's no let up. So there's no. It's just and but you can't verify anything. You can't you
yeah,
can't ever verify because everything can be modified. Every
yeah.
single thing can be
Oh
modified,
yeah,
and you'll
well
never
the
know.
deep fakes alone is
Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but well, no, it's interesting that you say about you don't know who to believe. I was just talking to a coworker, and he was saying like, well, you can't trust anything you hear, and everything's a lie and everything else. And so, but I'm like, well, so why do you have such a strong opinion about this stuff if where you're getting your information from, if you're saying, well, I don't know what to believe and both sides are like lies and you never know who to trust, but if that's where you're getting your information from, why are you so passionate, or why are you getting so upset about some of these things when if your source, if you don't trust your source, how are you getting so upset about it? Like, how are you getting so, you know,
Where did
you know,
where does your pride for it come from? Why is it
what?
so deep? You know
Yeah,
that goes to one of the things I watched. Like say before all the pandemic stuff came, before we even knew it was a thing. There is a TED Talk with Eric Bischoff. He was the guy who ran WCW against WWE and all that stuff,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So his whole idea, what his theme of talking was, is why, what the news stole from wrestling. You know, the news stole from wrestling the psychology of building up a match or building up hatred between the two parties, so you get
Right.
involved without
Right.
giving you like in wrestling you have the pay-per-view where you can solve whatever issues they're pumping up, but they play it so good that they don't ever solve the issue. They just keep you hanging in that unknown territory, and you're
Right.
ready to strike, but you don't ever get an answer for it.
Hmm.
And they play on the psychology very easily.
Right.
And we're all sucked into it because now news is 24/7. It's even more than 24/7. It's like 48 hours and 24 hours. It just jams it with you all the time. You
Right.
got the
Everything's
ticker on the
breaking
news
news.
that
Yeah.
scares you about everything, and one side says this side is an idiot, the other side says this side is an idiot, with a lot more visceral language, and just enough to prod you to where the people like you and me, one day, like, I'm gonna wring your neck because of what you think about Trump, you know.
Right.
And we've been friends
Yeah.
since like 2000, you know. And
Yeah.
but they play on it's like weekly episodic programming, you know. One that doesn't ever finish, keeps you in that zone to where you're ready to strike, you know. It's like you get
Yeah.
into a
Every night is a
series and you watch it for
cliffhanger.
7 years, and then you're just hanging, 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 hanging,
Yep.
hanging, hanging.
Yeah.
And what, Trump just lit it all on fire, and it just released everything, and
Yeah.
it's crazy, you know. So they keep you hanging on just by prodding you, you know. That's why you can't. And yeah, you can't watch the news all the time. You can't trust the news all the time, but you got to get your opinion somehow. Feeling goes for me.
Yeah.
I see. It's like watching some of the things the Democrats say to me. It twists my brain so hard. It's just like, how could you even think that way? I remember the first impeachment trial of Trump. Swalwell was asking him the questions, or asking the questions, right? And he just asked a question, didn't let the guy answer, asked a question, didn't let the guy answer, asked a question, didn't let the guy. I'm like, that has no productive value whatsoever. You're not there for an answer. You're just trying to say something, but you're not saying anything because you're just hammer and question, hammer and question, hammer and question. You're not given a chance for the reply. And then him interviewed after that. Well, you all you did was ask questions. You didn't have a chance for conversing. I said, I don't think it was successful or something like that. What the reporter said. He's like, nope, it was very successful. I'm like, how can you think that way? How can you think that way? It's just like,
Yeah.
how can you see that as a successful way of interviewing? It just, you got to give whether you hate the guy or not, or hate whoever it is, you got to give them the chance to say their piece and be able to then refute it if you don't like it. But if you
Yeah.
don't do that, you're going to have people that just won't ever listen or believe you. It's like children. They grow up, and if you want your children to be work back and forth, you can't have one be overtly bossy to the other. There's got to be a back and forth. It's like you can't expect the one who gets bossed around not to boss you around. You got to have some level of communication, a level of discourse, and we
Right.
definitely don't have that anywhere.
Mm.
And the funny thing
Yeah.
was, is what, on my YouTube feed was just watching. It came up. It was a CNN interview with Frank Zappa and
No.
some other reporter and two guys from CNN, and they were going back. This is when the PMRC was all big because of the rock and roll was devil music, you know,
Right.
and
Yeah. Tipper Gore.
the
Yeah.
stuff that they were getting angry for was like the foundation of where we are today, just the ideas. you know
Right.
they're worried about particular songs saying bad things, like one of Prince's songs about having incestual relations and sex and the whole nine yards, and then they're um, wrapping it around with videos and everything. And Zappa's there just like, if you want to take this logically, or if you want to take this reality, you got to take it. The case is on the words. The words are the problem. If you want to have a problem with the words, you make a case for the words. And the reporter guy is just like, well, what about the videos? This case is not about the videos. It's about the words. Well, the videos get and they just go back and forth. And then they get into a big back and forth about where does it end? I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not here to tell you what to do. And the reporter's like, well, I want to be here to tell you what to do. Like, that's the foundation of where we are today. And that was from what, the 80s? You know,
Yeah. Well, that was the thing is it's like, they thought that it was that the government knew better than the parents. And it's not the government's responsibility to protect our children from bad language or bad songs. That's the parents' responsibility. If you don't want your kids to listen to Judas Priest because you feel that they're going to kill themselves or they're going to start mutilating animals, well, then that's you. That's not anyone else,
yeah. And
you know?
I had that's one of the same exact thoughts I had about Trump's speech on the 6th. You know, just like they're holding him responsible for his speech for the insurrection. Okay, well, what you had the kid kill himself to suicide solution. Someone killed themselves to a priest song, and there's other been people who had done suicide for songs. I'm like, well, you've proven you can't hold people accountable for their speech because each time that happened, the musicians would get off. They were acquitted of whatever charge it was because it's all in the person's head. It's not Ozzy Osbourne telling the kid to go shoot himself,
Right.
you know? And whether there was stuff there or not, you can't hold that person personally responsible for what thoughts run in your head.
Right.
You
I
know,
agree. Yeah.
so just like that, it's a big reason why they acquitted Trump the second time. It's just like I can't control what you think about my thoughts. I can't, and I can tell you to peacefully protest, and you're going to think that means shoot you in the face. Well, that's not my fault. You don't know what the definition of peaceful protest means. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
it's like the definitions get changed on us. And wait till we're 80. Peaceful is going to mean like drop bombs.
Very possible. Very, very possible. And I hope that I'm living underground like a mole person by then. Because that's the first thing I want to do, man. When I retire, I'm going to buy a place in like Idaho or Utah or Nevada. I'm going to have a 1-story home. It's just going to be a little ranch home. But I'm going to have like 2 floors or 3 floors under. I'm going to have a basement, a sub basement, and then my luxury studio, right? So then if it's too hot to live on the surface,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be nice and cool down there. No need air conditioning or anything. It's going to stay nice and cool. And then the winter time,
Mm-hmm.
when the winter becomes spring,
Yeah.
then I got my whole little yard. I got a nice little plot of land, have a little garden if I want, you
Well,
know.
we got to get through the next 12 years first. Remember, we're supposed to blow up in like 12 years according to the
Yeah,
government
well, they
studies.
said that about like 2020. And
How
well,
how
they said about 2012.
how many times in our lifetime have the world supposed to end?
Oh, of course, yeah.
It's just like, come on, we can't keep believing this stuff. But
Yeah.
it's the same thing as how many times can you hear the same damn song played on the same damn radio station in 20
Yeah.
years? Probably like 20,000 times.
Yeah.
Eventually it catches the right people and the world's going to end.
Yeah, well, I think like every generation there's something. It's like the same thing pops up every, 15, 20 years, with, cuz I mean they've been talking about global warming since the 60s and 70s,
They
you
were in
know.
global cooling.
There's always it's always something that's going on that every generation thinks they know what's best, but it's not always the case. I mean, I think slowly, very, very slowly, and not fast enough, are we progressing to the right direction. But every time we take a step forward, we take 2 steps back or 3 steps back to try to get another 1.5 steps forward, and then we fuck it up again. And that's just human nature. Like, there's just too many of us, and none of us have enough brain matter to do the right thing. Like, I'm all for helping somebody up, helping them, like the whole, lift yourself up from your bootstraps, and we're going to give you all the opportunities to do it for yourself. Well, not everyone wants to do that. Not everyone's that motivated. So how do you help the people that want to help themselves and weed out the people that don't want to help themselves? There's not enough time in the world to weed that many people out. So either you help everyone, whether they deserve it or not, or you help nobody. And so it's not
Piss
an
off all
easy
the, you piss
fix.
off all. It's just like in work. You piss off the good workers for the little workers, for the ones who don't
Mm-hmm.
do anything. We've
Yeah.
been through that many times,
Yeah.
and you can't have a winning balance with that. You got to accept the fact that what you have people that are there going to get your base hits, people are going to get your home runs. Well, that's their role. You're not going to change it
Yeah.
unless they want to change it,
Yeah.
you know, and you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
It's not my position to tell you what the hell you got to do with your life. It's not. I'm not
Yeah.
going to tell you to pick up by your bootstraps. You're living, you're working, you're doing fine. You're doing fine in probably 75% of America, you
Yeah.
know? So it's
Yeah.
just, it's asinine. It's asinine to
Yeah.
think. But if the world actually does come to an end, they're killing people at a master rate with the virus. So we just hit the 500,000 mark. And we
Yeah.
said in the beginning it could kill a million. Well, it probably will kill a million because they have to get to that number.
So you think they want to get to that number?
My conspiracy mind would think that, yeah. Just my not trusting mind would be like, yeah, of course, yeah, they want to kill us. I thought in the beginning when they were threatening us, when they're saying, "Oh, it kills all the old people." Well, that's Social Security we don't have to pay anymore. Social Security
Right?
was
And it,
supposed to be
and it kills
broken.
all the minorities, and who needs
Yeah.
them? Right?
Well,
Yeah.
that's why we're going to let the 11 million come in from the border. You know,
Yeah.
with the virus and not screen them. It's just
Yeah.
like asinine. How it is it's like
Yeah.
it's good for you, but not for me.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. There is no easy fix. There's no easy way to do it. Like, I mean, you can say with immigration, for instance, like, all these people were saying, like, just do it the right way. We're fine. You can come into our country, just do it the right way. Well, do you know how hard it is to do it the right way? If everyone that but if everyone that wanted to come in, and you're talking about tens of thousands of people a day, that's impossible. You can't do it the right way. How? Because it takes a long time for anyone to get to do it the right way, to go through the interview process, and then get a temporary visa, and then you go through all the rigmarole to get your citizenship. For so to say to do it the right way is damn near impossible.
But
You
then
can't.
we don't even know what the right way, for me to say that to you, I don't even know what the right way is.
Right.
So
So
so that's just an
to
ignorant conversation.
yeah, but to me, if you want to stop people from trying to get in here, is you have to make the places that they come from a little bit better so that they don't need to come here. Now, there's no reason now, like Mexico, for instance, the only reason why they're trying to come out of here is because of all the drug cartels. Well, guess what? If you legalize drugs, for instance, well, now they have no business here.
Yeah.
So what's
Well, that's a big part of our economy, whether people know it or not.
yeah,
America is bought and paid for with all that stuff.
yeah,
That's a supplement to our economy. They're
yeah,
never going to fix that because it makes them so much money.
right,
And the people who die from it, well, they're just cannon fodder for it.
yeah. But I mean, there's no reason why with the United States military, there's no reason why we can't team up with Mexico and say, that's it. We're wiping out every drug cartel. And if they go somewhere else, all right, well, it's farther away from our country. They can go to Ecuador. They can go somewhere else. There's no reason why we can't go over there and eliminate them.
No, that's all the money that the people make.
Right.
You
And
piss off a
that's
lot
what it
more
is.
people, and then
Yeah.
that would start another complete war. But it's just like what was my thought? It's like we haven't been in war in 4 years, right? That's one positive about Trump. We haven't gone to war in 4 years, right?
Wait, but we're still at war. We haven't left since what, 2006?
Where are we though? Like we didn't start we in the Trump administration. We didn't start. That's been on the news. We didn't start any major wars. We didn't start anything.
Start No, we didn't start any. No, but no, we're still in it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Biden administration, we're already bombing in Syria again.
Yeah, but that's still a continuation of Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan. That's still a continuation. And that's only because they bombed us. That's just retaliation. I mean, look at what Trump did to that one guy. He just blew up his fucking limo. Like that's that dude. That's gangster right there, man. Just like in your limo, you know? Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was a bad guy. He needed to go. Whatever.
But then it's just like when we killed Saddam. It's just like Saddam was a bad person. He was a dictator. But what came out of that? You know, it's just like where do you draw the point of you're never? It's like it'd be like the movie Taken. Where does it end? You can't end it because someone's always going to be mad and wanting revenge against us because
Oh, of course.
we've
Yeah.
done so much.
Yeah. You create a vacuum, someone else is going to show up and take their place. Of course. Of course. Yeah. And we need it. I mean, the economy does better when we're at war. That we make money hand over fist when there's war. Like it's not going to go away.
I know it's killing me now with the stock market the way it is. I'm just like, you guys should just let the country open, let the country make money. It's like I see stuff go up and I see stuff go down. I was like, mother. Like,
Yeah. I haven't, you know what? I haven't, I was talking to like I said, I was talking to my coworker and he was saying the same thing. I haven't noticed anything at all. Like I haven't noticed a big dip at all in my 401k.
well, it probably has to do with say how aggressively you're invested and
Yeah.
what you're invested in. Like if you're invested in
It's like the Vanguard and the S&P and it's
yeah,
all whatever the
if
big
you're
ones
in an
are.
ETF fund or something like that, which is a group of funds, you're not going to notice a big drop. But if you're like me,
Yeah.
I got money in I've had money in Google, I got money in Tesla. You know, Tesla can go up $100 in a day and down $150 the next day right now. You
Yeah.
know, they were
Yeah,
up
it's
to
down $14 today. Yeah.
yeah, I know they were up to $900 like 3 weeks
Yeah,
ago.
now it's like six something.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, gee, thanks, Joe Biden. Thanks a lot for screwing everything up.
I don't
Raise my
think that
gas
had
prices
anything
at
to
the
do with
same
it.
time. You know, I go crazy with that stuff, but it's just like, come on, just open everything up again. It's like we don't need to be locked down this much for this. You know, let us be human beings. Whoever's going to die is going to die. You're not going to stop that. No, babies, don't worry.
Uh, no, I mean, I kind of agree. Like, I think it should be, the fittest should survive. So if people want to go out there and have these parties and all contract it and all die, then whatever. That's better, more Social Security for me when I retire. If you want to be stupid and do that stuff, go for it. I nothing to do with me.
You cannot keep everyone alive. It's just not feasible. We're
Yeah,
not at that level of technology. We're not at that level of human being.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, I just think if collectively, because like our country is one of the very few that is segmented so much. Like we have 50 states, and every state does their own thing. Now, if Trump had come out and said, "Look, this is probably nothing, but just in case it is, for the next 45 to 60 days, everybody stay home as much as you can unless you have to go out. And if you do go out, wear a mask, wear gloves, sanitize." if you shut everything down for 45 days, 60 days, this wouldn't have got out of hand. What happened, I think, was that every state handled it much differently. And because coming from the top guy, he's saying, oh, this is going to go away in April. When the weather gets better, it's going to go away. Like a miracle, it's just going to go away. Well, turned out he was wrong. And that's not what happened. And everyone was shitting on New Jersey and New York because we had so many cases in the beginning, and everyone was shitting on California because there was so many cases in the beginning. And it was like, you're shutting everything down. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then all the states that didn't shut down, guess what? They got hit hard. Now, the reason why California, New York, New Jersey got hit so hard is because those are the import. That's where people fly in and out of. So you have people coming from all over the world, flying in and out, in and out. So of course it's going to hit the West Coast and the East Coast the hardest. And then it all trickled in. And what states got hit last? Nebraska, because nobody's there. And the people that do live there, they're not all, you know, close together. So you know, I think things could have been handled much differently if we would have handled things like Italy, Germany, Sweden, where they just shut everything down. They said, we don't care what you got going on. If you're caught on the streets, you're going to get fined or arrested. And those are the countries that are fine right now. Go ahead. You can Google it right now and look at Italy, Germany, and Sweden. Now, they population level, yes, there's a lot less of them, and they're less populated. But they nipped it in the bud immediately. They said nobody leaves, nobody does anything for 30 days, and it was fine. Are you googling it? Oh, okay. So
Uh, you're saying, hold on, it'll take me a second to get that thought back.
okay.
Uh, to shut everything down for the oh, we run on money.
Yeah.
Okay, we would not come to the point where we would shut it down because we run on money. Where did you go? Cancel. I don't want to do that. There you go. And it's like what in New York they had the people worried about they're getting evicted because they were not making money. Well, they rescinded that, right? For a certain amount of time. Well, now it's back on. People are worried about they're getting evicted again. They're still shut down. It's like when is it too much? You know, there's still people who can't go to work.
Yeah.
So
No, I
and,
agree.
and it's just like if you want to shut us down, okay, well, how about don't give me the stimulus that you've been promising forever. By the time you give me the stimulus, I'm going to be dead, and I'm not going to be able to spend it on my bills where I got to put it. You know, you're fighting to give money to every other country except for the American person. You know, don't give me the stimulus. If you wanted to shut everything down, shut everything. No, you can run your electricity, you can run your water, you can live in your house. We're not going to charge you for a dime of anything. And let us live in our homes for the 45 days. But we can't survive that way because we're based on money. You know, we need money to survive. It's
Right.
like that's the
But
only
if you
way that
think
would work.
about how much was wasted because it was so sporadic, you know, like they could have, like with the rent, for instance. Now, for a person not to pay rent, that's one thing. Now, that rent would get paid to a landlord. Now, that landlord is responsible to the bank. So when you say, all right, well, we're going to suspend rent and mortgage payments, well, that's fine for the tenant or the person who bought the house. So then that goes to whoever owns the house, which is either the landlord or the bank until your mortgage is paid off. So we had no problem not that long ago bailing out all the banks. Well, what do you think would have cost more? Bailing out the banks or making sure that everyone's rent was covered for 60 days? You see what I'm saying? So now the person doesn't owe rent for 60 days. The person who owns the building doesn't have to pay a mortgage for those 60 days. And the bank doesn't get those 60 days, those 2 months worth of mortgage or rent. And if they're like, oh, well, we have no money now. Well, guess what? You got bailed out, and instead of using the money to pay your employees and pay your customers, you guys all decided to take bonuses and pay your own salary. So that's the problem. Like we could have spent a lot less money. Now Biden's doing this 1.9 trillion dollars. Before that, Trump approved the almost $1 trillion. It was like $800 million. So what do you think would have cost more? That 1.9 plus 800, or the 1.9 trillion, or the 800 million combined with 800 million, or 60 days worth of paying people's salaries and paying people's rent and mortgages? It
Yeah,
would
but
have been a lot less
yeah, but
to
what if
just
you
do that.
what but really when you break, just think bigger than money, you know. Break it down to just life. All right. We don't we need money to survive, to make our living in whatever country we live in. Now, if you want to pause everything, why are we worried about printing so much damn money and putting so much damn money about that, when you could say you wanted to pause, close everything for the 60 days so the virus would pass? Well, pause everything for 60 days. Pause it
Well, I mean, that
all.
would include, that would not include, like grocery stores and pharmacies and gas stations, because people
Just say,
still need to go to
well,
work. I mean,
just
people still need to
you're
work.
you're the government of this country. You can
Mm-hmm.
do anything you want to help the people. Pause
Mm-hmm.
every single piece of the economy so we pass this. You can still go to the grocery stores. You don't have to worry about paying us rent. You don't have to worry about paying the bank's rent. You don't have to worry about paying anyone rent. You don't have to worry about paying your utility bills. You know, we can still survive. There's going to be sun and moon. It's still going to
Right.
rotate. You
Right.
know, if you take away the responsibility of the money, you know, I think people would have had a better view on it. Okay, well, I'm closed in my house for 60 days. Well, at least I don't have to pay anything, and at least my landlord doesn't have to pay anything. At least the bank
Right.
doesn't have to pay anything. We
Right.
could do that, but instead, we're going to add more money to our deficit. We're going to just keep printing it. We're going to put it to everywhere else, and now we're going to put in a bill that really doesn't take care of us. And by the time most of these Americans get it, it's like saying, dude, I'm going to help you with your mortgage payment. Okay, your mortgage payment is $1,000. Well, I'm going to give you 200 today. All right. And in 2 months, I'll give you another 200. And in 2 months, I'll give you another 200. Well, that doesn't help me for the $1,000 I needed for the month one,
Right.
you know? So
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah.
by the time we all get to that point, we're already past our point, because now everything is opening and you need money. If you
Yeah.
want to pause it, you put a freeze on everything and you say, okay, everyone can live for this month. Everything will be stopped. We just want to get past this. Stay in your homes. Let's get past this. We'll open back up in a month or 2 months. You know, don't worry about work. Don't worry about this. We figure it out from there. And when the 2 months comes, we start right back up again. But
Yeah.
no, the answer is money for us. We need money.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it got way out of control. I mean, there's no reason why bars and restaurants couldn't have thrived. They could have. Because if that was the only place for you to get your food, and so you could do that safely without having people. Now, if you're in California or Vegas or Texas when there's not, this weird winter that they're having, you know, you could, if you're in those southern states where it's nice out all the time, it shouldn't affect you at all. You should still be able to go to a restaurant or go to a bar, sit outside, far away from everybody, and there's no reason why you couldn't have did that from day one. The problem is like I said earlier, is you can't trust people to do the right thing, because the moment you say, yeah, go ahead, you can go to bars, you can go to restaurants, you just have to stay safe and be smart about it. These are the same people that are renting a house in the Hamptons somewhere and having 700 people show up and having these big parties.
Yeah, but
That's the problem.
that comes into play of that stuff happens all the time, whether we're having the virus or not.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
So
they
so
gather
So
in
so
then
how do
such
how
you
do
small.
you
fix
fix
that?
that then?
How do you fix that? Well, whoever's going to die
Because
is
they
going
Because
to
they
die
tried to
tried
first.
to
fine
fine
everybody, and
everybody and
that
that
didn't
didn't
work.
work.
Of course not. You're not going to fine everybody. They don't have the tracking in you yet. Soon enough we'll all have the tracking in us. But it's just like you take whether you're responsible or not. This world runs on idiots and smart people. Okay? So you got to let the balance itself out. If 500 people want to go have a party, well, they can go have a party. I'll stay the hell away and I'll be alive. If they live with it, they live with it. If they die, they die. You know,
Right, right. But the problem is that those 500 people are going back out, and now they're exposing. Now, if they expose one other person, now you just double that to 1,000. If each one of them exposed two
but
people,
you can't you cannot you would infringe on too many freedoms for that. I mean,
right?
there that's almost as bad as having us forced into Walmart, one exit door of a super Walmart. You know, we're all going in the same door, which is about six
Yeah,
feet wide. I'm like, and it's more than 200 people going in there. So you're
yeah,
going to tell me, oh, that party is really dangerous compared to going to Walmart, where I'm supposed to get my food? Well, that's just as dangerous. I'll probably have more fun at the party, and if I die, I die. At
yeah,
least I had fun. I went out with a bang. If I go to
yeah,
Walmart and contract the virus from grabbing a freaking avocado, then I'm going to be pissed, but I'll have no repercussions because Walmart's not liable for anything that happens in their store.
Right.
right,
So where do you draw the line? You got to
right,
let life run out, you know.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I can't worry about those 500 people who want to go have that stupid party. Now, if I see my neighbor having 500 people over, I'm taking my kids and I'm getting the hell out of here. I'll go 200
yeah,
miles away. You know, I was like, screw you guys. I'm going home. You guys do whatever you do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody brought up a good point. They're like with the NFL, they were like, so before the game, all the players have to get tested. They're all wearing masks. The moment that coin flip happens, as soon as they get on the field, now you got 30 guys all right up next to each other, tackling each other, and everything else. It's like, well, what's the point? Like, why did you go through all of that? If
Them wearing the mask on the sidelines.
Right. Like why?
It just made me just
It
my
makes no.
brain wanted
It
to
doesn't.
pop.
It makes no sense.
It
No
didn't
sense.
make any sense at all. It didn't. It's just like, what's the point of this? I watched the Super Bowl. I haven't watched it for a couple of years, and I'm not a Tom Brady fan because Jets are my team, which I don't watch anymore. You know, but I can't believe the amount of flack Tom Brady got for winning and having the "Make America Great Again" hat in his locker and
Oh,
oh
I,
walking
I
in the
didn't hear
stadium
about that, but
without a mask. Holy
yeah,
crap! You think he's like worse than Saddam Hussein? And
yeah.
yeah,
it's just like, oh my God! I'm like,
yeah,
you couldn't take that. He beat the pants off of the Chiefs, you know, and he did it. Was he the best he's ever been? No, but he is Tom Brady.
Yep.
yeah,
He beat the living crap out of you guys because he knows what to do. And
yeah,
just like people are thinking he's the most evil guy for having a MAGA hat and not wearing a mask, and he's not a good role model. And I was just like, oh my God.
yeah. But see, you know what? I didn't even hear about all that. I heard more about the whole ball deflating thing. That's what I.
Heard most about is that
Oh, that was a couple years ago.
yeah,
That was Deflategate. But
yeah,
if you just look at just say Tom Brady recent Super Bowl, and you'll see just asinine the way they're. It's just like you can't win because someone's always going to try and take you down.
yeah,
So there's no point to win. There's no point to be on top. That's what I think they want society to be. There's going to be no point to be on the top of society because someone's always going to be there to stab you into your Achilles. to bring you down because you cannot be that high. You're not allowed to because I'm a loser and you're not allowed to be higher than me. We all have to be losers here,
Yeah.
and that's not the way life works.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more ring and he'll have all of his fingers. He's gonna run out of fingers.
I can even say, you know what? He got to the team that was the worst in the league in everything, right? And he won a Super Bowl. Okay, that's a fluke year. Teams have done that before. They went from worst to first. And I want him to come back next year, and I want him to win it again, just so he can say, "Bitches, I don't care what you say. I got it."
Yep.
You know, just to crap on everybody.
Yeah.
Like, we need someone to crap on everyone, and Tom Brady's the perfect crap on everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what everybody hates, the person that wins all the time because it's like, you could root somebody on if they win a few times and they're like, "Oh, good for you." But then the moment that they win too much, it's like, "Oh, now you're just thrown in everybody's face. Now you think you're better than everybody." That happens all the time. All the time. Like I'm a big fan of like MMA and like Anderson Silva was, he always he would mess with people. Like, he would just put his guard down and just be like bobbing and weaving, and these people could not hit him. They were trying, they were swinging, and they couldn't hit him. And everybody hated him for it, but he was good. And
Yeah, he'll be good.
sometimes,
But people like that will be good until they're not good, and
Yeah.
then
yeah,
they'll be not good. It's like
yeah,
Mike Tyson says, "You're really good until you get punched in the mouth."
Yeah.
yeah,
Until someone comes up and punches you in your mouth, you're the best. And
yeah,
what happened? Buster Douglas beat the crap out of him when he was like up there. You know,
yeah.
Did you?
Did you see the Holyfield fight recently? It- Dude, it was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. I didn't watch it, but I saw the clips from it, and it was just like, oh, that's just embarrassing. I felt bad for Holyfield. Oh, no, Tyson won, but he should have won in the first round, but they let it go because I think it was more of like they were trying to like make it last a little longer, and it was just, yeah, he should have won in the first round, and I don't know how many rounds it went, but yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. But I mean, for how old they are, Mike Tyson is a savage, man. He is a beast. He's still like he's not his in his like when he was 24 prime, but man, I mean, you could put him up against a 30-year-old in their prime and he would probably still beat the piss out of them. I mean, he is quite. I mean, he is a phenomenon. He is a specimen that it's very like Floyd Mayweather. I mean, like it's hard to get to that level. Not many people get to that level, you know. And a Mike Tyson came from like a crappy neighborhood, crappy life. I mean, he didn't have a lot of smarts, but he was good at inflicting pain on people. And he got around the right people and they molded him, they put him in the right direction, and he, went off the path quite a few times, went to prison, and supposedly raped somebody. Okay, whatever. But man, he was meant to be a boxer. He was meant to be a fighter, you know? And wow. Yeah. You got to watch the interview of on Joe Rogan's podcast, and it has to be the one where Tom Segura, yes, it was Tyson. Oh my God, man, Tyson tells some of the best stories when he's telling the story about he was in prison and he's talking to his manager or something, and his manager's saying like, "Yeah, I got all these cars I'm trying to get rid of, and I'm gonna sell them and get some tigers." And Mike Tyson's like, "Wait, you can get tigers?" He goes, "I got some cars. Why don't you sell a couple of my cars and get me some tiger cubs?" And he's just telling this story about how he got these tiger cubs. So he gets out of prison and he gets home and he's got this white tiger cub. And there's a picture of him in these underwear, just in his underwear in his backyard with next to the pool. He's got the white tiger, like like a teenager, I guess. It wasn't a full adult yet, on a chain leash, and the tiger's in the pool, and he's just hanging out, holding on to the chain. It's a great picture, man. It's like and this was right when he got out of prison, so he was cut because he was working out all the time, and oh my god, I mean, he was probably 35, maybe younger than that. I don't know. With the whole Robin Gibbons thing, I don't know because he was still young when that whole thing happened. But man, he is one hell of a storyteller. You know. He owns his own his own grow like a farm. I guess. Yeah, I guess it's a farm. Yeah, yeah. So and he's got a podcast too. It was like getting high with Mike Tyson or getting or smoking with Mike. I never watched it, but yeah, he's got his own podcast now, like smoking or getting high with Mike. I don't remember what it's called, but yeah, but yeah, you know what, man? I wish I would because I started my channel 11 years ago and I have almost 2,000 subscribers at this point. And had I just because I started with doing like tutorial videos of like showing people, yeah. So, and I just kind of did that for two reasons. One, just to do, for fun, and one was like because I wanted to, in order, I don't know, I don't know whether I heard this idea or if I came up with it myself. I like to think I came up with it myself, but like if you want to learn something, the best way to learn it is to have to teach it to somebody else. Because if you have to teach it to somebody else, you have no choice but to know what you're talking about. And so I'm all self taught. What's that? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So so that's how it started, where I just did that. And in hindsight, I wish I would have done something like this where I was just talking myself or had people over and just having a conversation. I mean, I could be doing this for a living right now. I mean, there's like some 12-year-old out there somewhere.
There's so much appetite for this type of conversation.
Yeah.
You don't get the chance to do this. You don't get the chance to even listen to it because we watch the news and it's just idiots shouting back and forth. You know, and just like you don't get a chance to interview someone like what the most we saw in our lifetime was the Tonight Show when Johnny Carson was on, right? He would interview people,
Yeah.
people would have a conversation, you'd be able to talk, you'd be able to learn, you'd have civil discourse. Now
Right.
it's just like Pip farting on a snare drum,
Yeah.
with Jimmy Fallon out there, and it's just like it's awful to watch. Just same with me for the music that's out there today. It's awful to hear. It's just so there's no there's no substance anymore. It's just the hooks or the big crap with it, and it just you can't
Yeah.
get into a satisfying, enlightening conversation that to make both parties. Oh, we actually learned something, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I think if people, go into a conversation and both people have an open mind and have an attitude where, you know, I'm willing to change my mind about something if, you know, it's possible. But when people go into a conversation where it's like, no, I've made up my mind. This is it. You can't change my mind. There's nothing you could say. There's nothing you could do. That's where we run into the problem. Like the perfect example is hunting. I was completely against hunting, and I thought anyone that went out there and hunted was a despicable, evil person. But then come to find out after I looked into it, because I mean, I was one of those hypocrites that was out there and I'm, just spewing all this information. It's like, well, if you could go to the supermarket to get a steak, why do you need to go out there and kill a deer? Like, why? What's the purpose? But then after I looked into it, I realized I'm like, well, it's so much better for the environment, it's better for the animal, it's better for the person eating the meat.
Also, it's also the hunt is also based on population level.
Right. Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
because if you didn't hunt, if you didn't allow that, we'd be overrun
Yes.
by whatever animal that they're saying we're
Yes.
hunting. When we get to a point where we hunt too much, we don't know where to let up. You
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
even and just like in any other sport, you have the people that are extreme about it, who will have their whole attics mounted with every animal they could ever kill.
Right.
You know, and that's too much for me. But you can't infringe on that. How are you gonna? How would you fix that? You couldn't. You know.
No. Oh, and then the thing is I wouldn't want to. I mean, I didn't see, that was the thing, is I didn't understand what it was, and the fact that all that money that people pay to get, they get so many tags a year for a deer, or for a moose, or for a bear, or for whatever. All that money goes to protect them and to make sure that they're always around, and to make sure that they're healthy, so that when someone goes and takes a deer, that they're not full of disease, because then what's the point? And they have a much happier life. I mean, they're out just hopping around, eating branches or grass or whatever, and they have a life, you know whereas, yeah, and it's like this whole communal thing. Like, there's the Cameron Haynes. He's a famous bow hunter, and he said something very interesting. And he said, when before I release the arrow, I think to myself, you're fucking dead, because he wants that animal to be dead so quick and so painlessly that a lot of times, he said, the arrow goes straight through them. They're eating, they get hit, they pick their head up, they go back to eating, and then they tip over. They don't even realize what happened to them. That's how quick it is. And it's painless, it's ethical. And whereas animal farming, like factory farming, it's like these animals are treated like crap. They're stressed out, which affects the, yeah. And because they're stressed out, it affects the meat, because they're so close together. There's all kinds of disease, like the fact that most of our chicken breasts, like if it's factory farmed, they have to soak them in bleach to kill all the bacteria before it goes to get packaged up. And I'm like, holy shit. And that's why I became a vegetarian, because I looked into it and I said, you know what, I can't be a part of this. I can't, like, know where this came from and put it in my face. Like, I can't put it in this hole. I physically can't do it because I'm disgusted by it. Now, I don't, judge anyone that does continue to go get chicken nuggets or whatever. You do what you want to do. But the fact that I changed my mind about something that I was so, you know, I mean, I was hell bent on, like, no way, no one should be hunting. It's the stupidest thing. Like, you must be a horrible person if this is what you want to do. I completely flipped it, and now I'm like, they're all heroes. Like, these are the people that are making the ecosystem work. This is nature. Because if humans weren't going out and killing deer and all these things, something else would. Or they'd be dying of old age. They'd be dying of starvation. Or they'd be dying by getting hit by cars. At least this way, they have a life, and it's over like that, and they don't even realize what happened. If only we were so lucky to just die in our sleep or that quickly, you know?
You know what I mean? So like, and I think that's a big thing is for people to change their mind, to just say, you know what, I believed this for so long, but now that I heard the other side, or maybe now that I've, seen more evidence, I've changed my mind and maybe I was wrong. And that's a hard thing to admit, is, what, maybe I was wrong about this whole thing.
Our current programming will allow that for happening.
Well,
We
Well,
don't
it's an
have.
individual thing. It's
It
it's
may
a
be an
choice you have to
individual,
make with
it an
yourself.
individual thing, but how you gotta have some a deep soul searching to come to an epiphany like that. And
Yeah.
the programming that we get from everything we watch and everything we hear will not allow for you to have that type of thought. Will not allow for you to go in because it's I hook you on one idea and then I reel you in and I hook you in the next idea and I reel you in. I don't give you a chance to get that thought in your head and bounce it back and forth. For
Yeah.
you to say, "Hey, this is bad." No, you just know it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think it's something that we all have to do. It's not going to be an easy thing. Like, so either we have to make the choice of, well, we're going to either listen to this and research it to find out whether it's real or not, or we're just going to take it as a grain of salt and just say, you know what? Maybe it is right, maybe it's not, but I'm not going to waste any negative energy on figuring out what it is. I mean, you have to ask yourself, is it really that important? Like, if I'm getting upset about something, well, why am I getting upset? Like, why does it bother me? You know, but oh, yeah, but most people don't want to do that. They scroll through Facebook, they see something they don't like, and it's like share, 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 share. Look at it, blah, 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 look at, I can't believe, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, what if you're wrong? Like, what if that thing you just read was wrong? You know,
And
and
people
people
don't think
don't think
about
about
that.
that.
It's just like watching you watch Newsmax, you watch the Next News, you watch all the other alternative news sections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they have some truthful stories, and they have some bullshit, just like the regular news, you know. And you're just like, sometimes you're like, I want that story to come true, and I want that story to come true, but it's the carrot dangling in front of your face. It's just like, enough already. And it really became apparent to me when it was like the Trump and the election fraud and all that stuff, and every story was leading you to the next step, like a book that would lead you to the next step. Well, this happened. It didn't happen this way. It's going to happen this way. Well, it didn't happen this way. It's going to happen this way. It didn't happen this way. And it would just lead you. It's just like, when does it end? When do you get the breath to say, look at it and say, hmm, although I may believe that the election was messed up, no, there's a reason why this is not coming to fruition, you know. And just like where do you end that thought? It's like where do you get the time to say, no, I can't follow this anymore, and I got to shut it off, and not be led
Yeah.
around, because it tells you it's like in Ron Burgundy 2. Why can't we just tell people what they want to hear, not what they need to hear? It's just like
Yeah.
that's exactly what we're listening to, you know, and there's no room for anyone else's thought. I deleted everyone I used to know on Facebook except for my family and the people I know currently. Everyone
Right.
I went to school with, threw them out because all of them just too much for my head. They're all on the other side, and I can take someone else's opinion, but when it's overt and just like you said, I will not listen to your side because big bad orange man. It's like, no, we can't have a conversation, you know.
Right.
And I made a post. I was really mad one day, and I broke my bed doing this, right? I was looking through the Facebook, and one of my high school friends, I wasn't really friends with, but it's on my Facebook, made a post about how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are like the two most greatest people in the world. And I've just seen so much crap, and I said these are the two most soulless people in the world, and I put that on there. And she ripped me apart about Trump and all his misogyny and going crazy. And I just said, remember in the debates when She accused him of racism, and she said he should be locked up when he was being accused of raping and touching the girl or whatever, the harassment stuff, right? And now they're the best of buds, you know. And I understand the point of history where you see you're on the losing side of something, so you jump sides because you want to preserve and you want to live on. But when you're fighting an enemy so viscerally, and then you team up with that enemy, and we know that nothing is resolved as far as what you said and what he said. You know, nothing is resolved. We know it's just a fake merger just to just to get the votes, just to get whatever they want to get across. You know, and she just lit into me, and I was so mad. I was sitting on the edge of my bed. I feel like I went Super Saiyan because my foot went through my bed rail and the bed cracked in half. I was that mad. And shortly after that, I forgot about it all and I let it go. And then some idiot from Alaska gets on the post line and starts saying something and starts hitting me with that. I'm like, dude, it was a month ago. Why are you worried about this now? It was a
Yeah.
month long. It took you that long to see it? And I'm like, you know, screw all you people. So I just deleted everyone off my Facebook who I just cannot have the time to talk to or ever talk to in the past 10 years. You know, it's pointless.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm so happy I did that because I don't have to see just the idiot reaction to everything going on. You know, and it's just
Yeah.
so much more stress free. It's like I can take you disagreeing with me. If you want to disagree, we can have an argument, we can have a back and forth. But if you're going to put up that wall and you're not going to let anything through, like you said, it doesn't work. You just can't have. I'll talk to the wall and I'll win better than I will talk to you. You know,
Yeah.
and it just was mind boggling how when I watched all the debates with Trump, and I watched the his rallies, and I would see the way the news portrayed it, and I'm like, but that's not what he said. That's not even close to what he said. So it frustrated me from that, and then to see someone believe that wholeheartedly, I'm just like, I can't even wrap my head around how you can believe that. If you can see like the Encyclopedia Britannica and you read the page and you can read everything word for word and see that this book is actually the Webster's dictionary, we have a problem. You know, it's not. We can't see things for what they are or what they're not. We got to have some level of evenality where I can show you this is my insurance card, and you have to say, yes, this is my insurance card.
You realize that now everyone sees your address.
Oh, well, block it out.
I
Or,
can blur.
yeah, or I'll do an even better one for you. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. This is a knife. Would
That's
you
a
agree
knife.
this is a knife?
Now that's a knife.
If
Yeah.
you can't agree this is a knife,
Yeah.
we can't have a conversation.
Right.
There are certain things that are by definition we have to hit the basis on.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah. I think it's like, like I said before, like this whole thing is like professional wrestling, where, you or any sports team. It's like you like a certain sports team, whether they cheat or steal or do it everything the right way, you're going to support them regardless of how they play that sport. And I think that's what it is when people have a president or a politician that they support, it's like no matter what they do, they're going to keep supporting them. And they can do no wrong. And so when you watch a debate or you watch a press conference or whatever, you're already, you know, leaning into their favor. You know what I mean? So you don't see the negative. You only focus on the positive thing. And when you see the opponent or the opposite person, you're only going to see the negative. And when you watch the news and when you go on social media, if the people that you follow the pages that you follow or the organizations or the groups that you belong to, that's all you're going to see is the things that support your opinion. And so when that's all you see over and over again, and you never see the other side, of course. I mean, that's how people get into cults. It's like you wonder, like, how do these people sit in these colonies and believe the crap that these people are telling them? It's because over time they were only exposed to those things, those beliefs, and these sermons, and whatever. These are the rules, and this is what you have to live by, and then you're cut off from the outside world. You're not allowed to have a cell phone. You're not allowed to have internet. That's how all this stuff happens. It's all brainwashing. It's all, but this is at a lesser, you know, you know what I mean? So like, if that's all you see and you surround yourself by people that only agree with you, of course this is what's going to happen. Because you're not, you have to keep an open mind. You have to say, you know what? Even for 30 seconds, what if I'm wrong? Just for a second, like, what if I'm wrong? Is it possible that I'm wrong? And if there's even a possibility, well, then maybe you don't have to be so strong about what you put out there, and the worst is the regurgitation. When you hear word for word the same news anchors, the same people saying word for word the same things over and over again. And then you hear the regular people saying it on Facebook or in conversations. Blah, 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 blah. Word for word, verbatim. That's exactly what I heard last night. And that's the problem, is no one is going to challenge it because they agree with it. It makes sense to them. And if it makes sense, it must be right. But for 30 seconds, what if you're wrong? And if more people did that,
Well, you gotta be open to the point, open to the fact that you got a 50% chance of being wrong with just about anything you say and do. There's only one way to do things. We don't know the way. We just do things, you know? And we can't tell you what the way is. It's the way, you know. Um, but we remember a couple years back when they were talking about when YouTube really what they changed their algorithms. When they were talking about personalizing your internet experience, right?
Was that the
So
net neutrality thing?
I think that was around that time. It had to do with the algorithm showing you stuff that you look at and showing you stuff similar to what you look at.
Right. Yes.
Well, they've perfected it so much that you can't see anything beyond what you look at.
Yes.
You
You're right.
know, there was a period of time on my YouTube feed that I would only see Ben Shapiro videos. You know, and I watch Ben Shapiro. I like him, but I don't want 1,000 Ben Shapiro videos because I can only take so much of it.
Right.
You know, and all my old stuff went away because for a period of time I didn't watch it. And I'm like, well, how do I find my old stuff again? Well, you can't find your old stuff because it's gone.
Search. You got to go into your
History.
previous viewed and click on one of those, and then you'll get them again.
Yeah.
Or you have to search.
But it doesn't show up with the veracity that the Shapiro video showed up at the time. Because it's not like a popular thing. So if I wanted to watch say I wanted to watch about Kennedy getting shot, well, I'll see 5 videos pop up about Kennedy getting shot. Okay,
Yeah.
but say if I wanted to watch about something about the Jets, well, I won't see anything pop up about the Jets. I'll just see one video that I saw because it's go downstairs, girls. Is she down there? Okay, girls are up here. But it just like everything is so honed in on you as the person. Like my devices, they have multiple personalities.
Yeah.
My cell phone has a whole set of things that it watches. My computer has a whole set of things that I watch, and my iPod has a whole set of things that I watch. My iPod is all heavy with Joe Rogan. That doesn't translate to my other thing. But the way the algorithms run, it's just so it doesn't miss a beat. It leads you to the next beat. So you just keep going to the next thing. It's like, oh, I saw this guy. He had something good. I'm gonna watch this next one, and the 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 next one. So
Yeah.
you don't know when to get out, and then all of a sudden you realize a year later, it's like, holy shit, why am I only watching this? Why am I only watching Ben Shapiro? Like, he may be a great debater and all, but I can't just sit here and watch Ben Shapiro. Just like I can't sit watching um, Tucker Carlson. I can watch him sometimes, but I can't watch more than an hour of Tucker Carlson because it's just too much. It's too much intake. You know,
Yeah.
I can't watch 5 minutes of CNN. It's just way too much intake for me. But I can't watch and just trying to. By the time I get to think of saying, what did I used to look for? I have no time for that in my lifestyle. I go to work, I do school, I got the girls, and I'm married. And it's just like I don't have time to even remember what I do or sit down at the computer for an hour to say I want to do something else. You
Yeah.
know? So it's quick, it's in my view, I watch it and I'm stuck on it. And I'm stuck on it and just can't get off of it. Because he's like, what's going to be next? What's going to be next? Fear of missing out. What's next?
Well, it's yeah, it's like a drug dealer being on the street. They give you the first sample for free because they know you're going to come back for more, and they're always going to have what you want. But yeah, I mean, the only way to break the algorithm is you have to commit to only watching certain things, and then it'll reset itself. You know, or you can log off and just be a guest, and then you'll get everything. Then you'll get all the stuff that you don't want to see because
But
it's
even
all like
even
stupid things.
even that, if I log off and do it as a guest, my IP address is still pinged on it, so it's still going to show me that heavy flow of stuff.
Oh, you need VPN, bro, because then they think you're in the UK or Uganda. Yeah, they're not a sponsor yet, but hey, ExpressVPN or whatever, you could be a sponsor of my show. Yeah. Oh, hold that thought. I gotta grab a beer.
Got too much stuff in here.
Don't overdo it.
Ugh. So,
Oh, so another fun point. I got the guys back over the other day. Me, Bob, and Ray were jamming out.
oh yeah.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Playing loud, singing. I got my PA set up so I can hear myself sing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so it was good. It was good to get together. We were together in November for a day, and then we got last Saturday we did, and we were playing pretty loud. It was awesome. It's awesome. Haven't seen those guys in a while.
Yeah.
I miss it, man. I do, and I'm so out of practice, man. Like, I got this great set now, like this great drum set, and I got all these amps and guitars and the PA system. And all. I never do anything with it. I'm such a piece of shit. Yeah, I was doing good for a little while, but I don't know. Like, I just lost my inspiration. Like, I need somebody else to. I mean, just like with this, it's like I need somebody else to feed off of. And I think if I had anybody to jam with, even if it was like once a week, you know, it's just something because it's like I have
Here's an idea for you. You know how they have the Peloton and they have the person on the Peloton who teaches like 500 people? Maybe you should do something
yeah.
like that. Make your own
Well,
drum.
no, they do. They have those things where you can be in part of a virtual class, but I don't know. I guess see. I'm not good at. I'm good. I like structure in certain parts of my life, but when it's something like this, I hate structure because I'll start doing like rudiments. I'll like start on like my paradiddles and my doubles and my single strokes and all that stuff. And then after about 15 minutes, I go from doing rudiments to like I'm all over the place and I want to play a song. And that's my problem is like I have these drum tracks I got on Spotify and I just made a playlist and it's all drumless tracks. So like there's some that are just random like studio musicians, but then there's some that are like actual songs, like songs that you would know. They just took the drums out, and now there's still studio musicians playing the songs, but it'll be like like Team Spirit or something.
you know. So it's something's recognizable that I know I can fake my way through. You know what I mean? Like Teen Spirit's pretty easy song. You know what I mean? It's pretty basic. So it's just I try to play along with those because it's good practice. Some of them will have the metronome in the back, and a lot of people don't know is that when you're listening to a metronome. Now I didn't know this until recently, probably like a couple years ago. When you're playing with a metronome, the only way you know if it's in time is the moment you don't hear the metronome anymore. I didn't know that because I was concentrating so much, but the moment you're in sync and you're in that pocket, you don't hear the metronome anymore. It's crazy. And it throws you off for a second because you're like, oh shit, where am I? Because you don't hear it anymore. And then as soon as you stop playing, it's like beep, 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 or whatever. But if you're in time, it's completely, you don't even hear it anymore. And that's how you know you're still in time. And so I did that for a long time. And I was doing pretty good. But then again, like I said, it's like it's hard to just practice rudiments. It's like on guitar, you're practicing scales. Who wants to do that? Nobody. You want to go from, you do your pentatonic and whatever. Okay, you're doing that, but now you're like, you know what I mean? It's like you don't want to practice that stuff. You want to have fun, and that's my problem. Is that I want the end result without the putting the work in. You know. And I think that that's with everybody. Anybody that has a hobby, you know. Oh,
Unless you're like 4 years old, and that's all you're doing.
yeah,
That's when you got to learn. You can't learn it but past that.
no.
Okay, let the beetle be. Juliana, why aren't you up here with shoes? Hold on, buddy.
So far, conversation with John is going pretty well. We're almost at 2 hours in, and let me put my headphones on. And so, like I had said before, so it's really interesting when you have a conversation with a person that doesn't have the same I guess the same opinions and the same value. Well, not really values, because I mean the two of us we have the same values, but as you could see, we are well, I mean, I'm not making it very crystal clear that we disagree on some things, but there's definitely a difference between how we feel that the previous president did in his administration and his 4-year term. Now, I mean, our new president, Joseph, I forgot his middle name. It was a weird name. I can't remember. But yeah, so our new president, I mean, he hasn't been doing it that long, and I think so far he's doing the best he can. But you know what? To tell you the truth, like a lot of folks out there, I think we're pretty tired of watching the news and listening to this stuff. It's so hard to know, what's real, what's not. So, all right, we got our guest back, and looks like he's got a drink there.
Yeah, so, I got a drink. Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers,
brother.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, one of my girls had a stink bug emergency. Couldn't walk past the stink bug, so I had to get her downstairs.
Oh, gotcha.
It's all good. I love the fun.
Yeah. I was doing yard work, and I accidentally picked up a slug.
Oh my god.
Did you like flip out and freak out?
Well, I mean, it was just weird. It just felt very cold and slimy, and it was, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was dating this girl Stacy. This was way. I was like 18, and I was walking. It was in the summertime. I was walking in her backyard. Uh-oh. I was I was walking in her backyard,
You know,
you know,
walking in her
barefoot,
backyard.
and I stepped on a slug in my bare feet. I'm like, oh my god, that was so gross. That was so nasty.
Well,
But
when you find a slug in a girl's backyard, that's probably going to be nasty.
yeah, that would be. Yeah.
You th-
You know, and that was way back when I wanted kids. Like she had two girls at the time, and I thought I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Like I got a already made family. This is great. And I would say like, oh, we have to have dinner together. We'll sit at the table, no TV. We'll put the radio on. We'll talk. You know. Well, that didn't go very well. No, that did not go anywhere. I mean, that was probably the closest I had ever been to getting married back then. Like I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought, whatever. And oh my God, man, I was abused, not physically by these women, but I was just I was just wanting to make them happy. That's all I wanted. And even if I was miserable, as long as they were happy, I was fine. And it wasn't until I completely gave up and I was like, that's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I don't even want to be in a relationship. That's when I met Denise. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. And, we've been married for going on 17 years, which is crazy. And we still haven't even had our first fight yet. Nobody believes us. Well, some people do. The people that are around us that have never seen us fight. And they're like, how is this possible? And I'm like, there's really nothing to fight about when you think about it. You know?
That?
What's that?
Go adopt a kid. You'll find something to fight about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And I told her that. I said, if we had kids, we probably would be divorced because the first time one of those kids with their sticky jelly fingers touched my mixing board or something, I'd lose my shit and throw them out the window.
No one puts a drink on my speakers.
I don't know. I mean, that would be, but then again, if I had a kid, I would probably be like, I don't care what this kid does. They're precious
You
and
have a big learning curve when you have children.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the rules you think you have, they go
Mhm.
out because when that kid
Yeah.
looks at you like, oh, you're like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, and that's how I am with the cats. It's like if if somebody would have came over my house and accidentally stubbed their toe on one of my speakers, I would flip a fuck out. I'd be like, and these things are meant to be abused. You know what I mean? Like when they're on a stage, they're stepped on and puked on and spit on or whatever. And I remember I watched my cat clawing it up, all the fabric, and I just watched her do it, and I was like, I can't be mad at her. She doesn't know. And so I would think that that's how I'd be with a kid. But when I think about it in my head, if I watched a kid do that, the first thing come to mind is I'd want to punt them like a football. Like I would want to kick them across the room, humiliate them, and made sure that they never went near my stuff again. That concerns me.
And those are the kids that'll raise up, fight a revolution against you. You know?
Yeah. And so that's why I'm very glad I don't have any kids. But you know what? I think my attitude would completely change if I actually had one. Because I'm thinking when I think of a kid, I'm thinking, well, it's someone else, and I'm not responsible for, and I don't really give two shits about.
Have an
You know?
exact copy of you.
Right. And that's even scarier. Because my mother put the curse on me. She goes, one day you're going to have a son just like you. And
My God, I
Yeah, when you see your kid, when you see the mirror of you, that's when it really hits you. And oh man, it hits you hard, you know. But I love my girls. They're so different in every single way, even though they're the same, you know. Francesca is the fire starter of everything, and she has beautiful, curly, fiery red hair. It's just you can't brush it. It takes a while to brush, and it's painful. But she's like the most openly talkative child out of the three girls. You know, Juliana to me is like um, the the smartest that doesn't want you watching her doing the stuff. You know, and doing homework with her is like doing homework with me when I was a kid, and I was horrible with homework. And she just doesn't want you over her shoulder. And like you try and get her to do something, she knows everything on the paper. But when you start talking to her, she's like, "Arr," and pops and pops and pops. And the second you let it go or say, do this, she just looks at it and goes, done. Here you go. And Cammy is the most stringent and responsible of the three. Yeah. Yeah. She's the oldest, you know, and she takes a lot of flack for her sisters because she's
yeah, yeah, yeah. And, and she's been through a lot more too, you know. Yeah, we won't go into that, but yeah, I mean, but that happens a lot. Like, the first kid is they're by themselves. They're they are the baby for a long time, and then another one comes around, and it's not as, oh my god, dude, those shadows are not flattering. It made it look like your nose was like a lot longer. Like it's just it looked like a serial killer. Yeah. It was like my supervisor, he's like more tatted up than I am, right? And he's actually the reason why I got this job is him and I worked at Dingbats together. And so he got me into the company I'm in now. But he's more metal than I'll ever aspire to be. And so to see him in an office environment, and because I don't work in the office because I work from home, anytime I went in there, it was weird to see him in like a sweater and khakis, and it just doesn't look right. It's like if you saw Rob Halford in a suit, it just doesn't look right. You know what I mean? Like it's supposed to be leather and chains and things. And so now a lot of people don't realize that him and I were friends before he was my boss. And so one day I went in there on my day off, and I saw him, and I was like, dude, you look like a pedophile. You look like you're gonna walk up to some kid in a park and offer them candy. And it was just such an uncomfortable, uneasy feeling to see him like that because that's not him. It's very strange. I don't know. It's just very, very strange. I guess it was like the first time you saw Kiss without makeup. It's like, whoa, oh, it's very uncomfortable. I don't feel good about this. I need an adult. Hello, It was weird, and then all the people around me are like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, well, you just called your boss a pedophile. I'm like, well, doesn't he look like a pedophile? I was like, look at him. He's wearing a Cosby sweater. I was like, this guy is more metal. I mean, he's like best friends with Tracy Guns of LA Guns. Like he hangs out on tour buses with Motley Crue. Like it's crazy. I mean, he has Nikki Sixx's phone number. Like because he's been in the club business. So like when these bands were touring in these small areas, he was working there. Like he worked at Connections. I don't know if you've ever been there. I never was, because when I moved to New Jersey, it was closed already. But it was a pretty, like, it was like CBGB's level in New Jersey. It was big. It was like Starland Ballroom, but it was much smaller. But so he got, I mean, from his like teenage years, like 17, 18, 19, he was working in these clubs and he got to meet all these guys, and he got to know them. And so when they went from place to place, and then he'd go to the concerts, and they'd see him in the crowd. They're like, "Hey, it's Vito. I know him," and he'd get to hang out with them and stuff. And it's crazy. I mean, this when I was working at Dimbats, the amount of people that I met, like Eric Smith from Mr. Big, and Jack Russell from Great White, uh, Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, that was huge. That I was on stage and I set up the stage for Dizzy Reed. I mean, he's the keyboard player. I mean, I have pictures of me hanging out with Jim Brewer and all these people. The lead singer of White Lion. Like, I mean, all these bands that we grew up with. I'm like, I'm setting up the stage for them. I'm like hooking up their microphones and hooking up their instruments, and I'm doing sound for them. I'm doing their light shows, and I'm like, this is the best job in the world. And if it paid more than $300 a week, I'd still be doing it. But I can't survive on that. I'm
You work till
making
you
triple that now.
you do
What's
that you do that till you get your break. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
that's what the struggle is.
Yeah. But see, I was fine though. I would, like, if that's as far as I got was doing the stage and doing sound and the lighting, I would have been fine with it. I would have did that until I died. It's it's like, those things. It's like, if you do something you love, then you never work a day in your life.
Uh-huh.
That was it. That was it. But I couldn't survive on making, $200, $300 a week. You can't do that. You can't pay for, and that's like no medical, that's no dental, that's no 401k. Like, you can't survive on that. Oh, and one of the things you wanted to talk about was, where the music business has gone. And I realized it real quick that you can't make any money just being in a band by yourself. Like, I saw these bands show up, and the way it was if you got 20 people to show up that paid $10 at the door, you would split whatever after that. So on the 21st person, you would split $210, and then every person $5, $5, $5, $5 after that. Well, unless 300-400 people to show up and see you play at a place that will only accommodate 168, including the staff, it's really hard to make any money, and yeah, you could sell merch and you could do all of that. And me and a couple of the guys, that were also in bands, I was like, let's start a business. Like, I have lighting, I have a PA system. Let's
It's one thing I've read. One thing I've read over the years is about being in a band or being in a cover band. The idea has to be the same, where you have to be business oriented, and you have to have the goal of, we're gonna make money, or you're just gonna be the party band cover band and not go any further. You know, if you want to do that stuff, you have to make the decision of, this is a business. This is not a party life. We have to succeed. You know, and in the bands we've been in, is nowhere even close to that. It's just about having the fun.
Yeah.
Other people might think differently. How did someone get up here? Oh, I'm sorry, baby. You want me downstairs? Oh, jeez. So what was I saying?
Good.
Oh, you gotta be it's business oriented.
Yes.
You know, and if you don't have that, don't fool yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it is much easier now because
you can have a Facebook page, a Twitter or Instagram, and promote yourself.
But
You
you can't
can.
play. You can't play. You wouldn't be able to put a cover on a Facebook page. They'll kill it for copyright.
Well, no,
Well, no, I think for a cover, I think you're okay as long as you give them credit. I think so. It's if because the way it works is it listens to the first 5 minutes and then it picks up. It's kind of like how what's that app uh the one that it yeah yeah I can't remember what it's called. It's oh, I don't know, but it's kind of like that where it listens to a certain thing, and if it picks up on it, then you get the
No,
copyright thing.
my Facebook band got deleted. Is gone.
it got.
It got you got suspended.
No, it's just not there anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, that's no problem. Yeah, I don't know if mine's there. I haven't checked in like 4 years because I think it was like the day of Trump's inauguration. That's when I deleted my Facebook account because I couldn't. You know what? And I was really rooting for him. I was actually, I didn't vote for him, but I didn't vote for Hillary either. What it was, and I talked about this, I think, on the first episode, was I went to the bagel place at the corner and they had it on the TV, and the people in there, like half of them were like, "Oh, oh yeah, we're gonna get to drain the swamp, and we're gonna get our country back," and the other one's like, "I can't believe this guy's a reality star. Like, what is he doing?" And then I'm reading all these people, all these people's posting, and it's on both sides. It's like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. It's like, oh my God, this is the best thing that could ever. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, I'm not gonna devote any more energy to this. It doesn't make sense. It's no good. Can come from this. Yeah, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Um,
Yeah, that was a good time to jump out of Facebook. It's just because it's horrible to it's bad to be on there now. It's just like you can't take we can't take other people's opinions because it's just is so nonsensical. But yeah, like the state of music from when we were kids to when we were now, what my kids listen to, oh my God, I wanna throw up. I do. I just can't. I can't stomach it.
you know what? That
And
happens every generation because
it does happen with every generation. But where like I had a conversation with my wife about that. It's just like where do we draw the line saying every generation says my generation's better than yours. Your generation is stupid. Your guys are retarded or whatever. We can't say retarded anymore, but your generation is retarded because you can't make music or you can't make anything. Well, where 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 do we draw the line? Like right now, are we going to the levels of the movie Idiocracy where we have no idea who's farting in the movie because we are just too stupid to care, you know? Or we just say Carl's Jr. all the time to get paid for it. It's just like you listen to some of the songs, and yeah, there were some bad songs when we grew up, right? But I think the cohesiveness of the lyrics when we grew up, generally of all the songs that were out there, were probably a hell of a lot better than what you hear now. Because just I listen to what Cammy listens to, and I just can't like I can stomach it now just to do a car ride to get him to school, but I'm just like this is awful. I heard this song 10 minutes ago, and I heard the song 20 minutes ago, and I'm like, this is awful. I'm just like, how can you think this is a good song? And some of the songs they play, the ones that are catchy was that one by The Weeknd that sounds like the Aha hit from the 80s. I'm like, well, the only reason that sounds good is because it was from the 80s. You know, back when we thought things had a beginning, middle, and an end. Now they just have the beginning and the end, or just the end, or just the middle. That gives you nowhere.
it's all hook. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just like, oh, I can't get to it. There's no completion to it. And there's nothing big about it. Nothing really good. You know. as opposed to what we were listening to. Yeah, we were listening to heavy metal, but there was a whole storyline behind the heavy metal we were listening to. That's what I feel like. Today is just no story or no nothing. To me in any of the songs. There's definitely nothing like what we listen to. There's no Led Zeppelin out there. I don't care what anyone says. There's nothing like that out there. There's no Iron Maiden out there. That's for sure. Because only Iron Maiden's Iron Maiden.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I think everything is like, I mean, it's always going to evolve because back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, it all changed, like, you had your doo-wop and it turned into like rock, and then it turned into harder rock, and then turned into metal, and so I think everyone thought that their music was the best. Like, I mean, the thing is, it's like I think, and it's only because of my wife that I kind of got into the country, because it's the closest thing to like the rock that I, not metal, but well, I mean, some of them are like, there's a couple country bands that are that would be considered on the level of metal, but there's not very many. But a lot of them would be the same as like a rock, like, like a Rat, or
Oh yeah,
a Scorpions.
I've heard enough country to say this is a rock beat. This is a metal beat.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
just like it doesn't work. That stuff doesn't really work for me. I can stomach some old country, cause when I used to work when my dad would take me working when I was younger, all he listened to was country. Like Willie Nelson and stuff like that. And like I can take that stuff even though I don't want to hear it. But if I listen to country today, I think I'd have to be in a whole nother state, like North Carolina, and I'd be indoctrinated with country. And I say, okay, this is okay for here, but up here, no, I can't. I just
yeah. I mean, if it weren't for Denise, I wouldn't really care, but it's because she likes it. We listen, and there's a lot of songs that are good, and I'll bop around to. And I've been to a ton of country shows because I went with her. And I mean, like, Zach Brown Band is amazing because all the musicians are spectacular musicians, and they'll do cover, like they did, like, on one tour they always close with Enter Sandman, like, and it was good, like, really good, but yeah. So I mean, like, I think I more, I, as far as new music, it would have to be that stuff, because the new metal, it's not that good,
no, I don't even know what new metal
it
is right now. I couldn't
yeah,
even I can't even fathom what it is.
yeah,
I'm still listening to the Maiden when I do.
yeah. I mean, other than like Volbeat, like, they're pretty good. They're like a Danish band, and I got into them, like Five Finger Death Punch. I they're pretty good.
But still, even with them, like you said before, everything's on hook. It's like how many
Mhm.
songs do we hear that are the same format of what we heard when we were kids? It's predictable to where we're not going to listen to it again. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't tell a story anymore, or not like it used to. Because I remember, like, my best friend Jay, when I mean, we were roommates, we were like best of friends. And I didn't like Maiden. As a matter of fact, I didn't even get into Maiden until you and I met. Like, I mean, I knew who they were, I knew some of the songs, but I never really enjoyed it until, we started hanging out. And and I remember he's like, "Well, listen to this album, but you have to do start to finish, and it's all one story." I don't remember the album. It I mean, I'm gonna I don't know.
Or Seventh Son was a whole concept album.
It could have, yeah,
Yeah,
it probably.
Seventh Son.
That sounds
Yeah, it was
familiar.
a
Yeah.
whole album
So you
start
say
to
if you
finish.
listen to it start to finish, it just tells one story, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And I liked most of the songs. I didn't understand the story, fully, but I didn't really, not like he did, where he would listen to it start to finish, like, all day. Like it would just be on a constant loop, and when, I mean, we grew up where it was cassette tapes, where if you didn't want to listen to a song, you had to fast forward. Now, yeah, now you could skip it. You could put it on shuffle, and now it makes no sense when it's on shuffle. And then when MP3s came out, now you don't even have to listen to a whole album start to finish or shuffle. Now you're just listening to whatever. And I think that's what it is. It like really, our attention span went to nothing. And I am the worst at it, because when I put a playlist on, I'm like next, 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 next. And then one song, oh yeah, okay, I'll listen to this. And then the next one, I'm like, up next, 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 next. And it drives everybody crazy. And I'm the worst.
How many times have you heard those songs? Yeah, like I went through the revolt of how many times have I heard The Trooper in the past 20 years? It's a great song. I love it. It's awesome to play. But how many times have I heard it? It's like I don't need to hear it again unless I'm playing it or I'm seeing them live doing it.
Yeah.
It's just like, how many times have you heard it? What I'll do when I'm playing music, my music and Carol's music is all mixed. All right. And Carol got music from her brother and her father, and they put it all in there. So now I have my music and Carol's music. I'll find the Colombian songs to play, the Spanish songs to play, just because it's so different from what I listen to, and it's so interesting to hear, like the other thing. So it'll make me appreciate both sides better instead of hearing one side so many times over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You lose the feeling of it, but like the concept album of what Power Slave, Seventh Son was the concept album, was start to finish. Legacy of the Book of Souls album, the last one they put out, was another one like that, which was just Jesus Christ, it was an amazing album. I don't get the feeling of that from any other music I hear out there today. And that's probably because the only extreme I have is metal, hard rock to pop Z100 from what my girls are listening to.
Ugh.
And it's just like nothing. And if I put on 104.3, it's the same songs I heard from 1994. I'm like, I don't need to hear this crap again. Like I heard it so many times, it just doesn't work for me anymore. It just does. It doesn't raise the demons out of me or do anything for me.
Yeah.
So I'll listen to Carol's music, all the Spanish music a lot. I like that. I like that above country. Because it's got
because it's different.
It's different. It's got a lot more rhythm changes, a lot more everything, and it's not about drinking beers and being depressed or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, when what's it called? My girls love when I play, and they like the rock and roll too. Francesca especially. She says, "I want rock and roll. I want rock and roll," and she's like 3 years old. She's going to school next year. It's gonna be amazing. But she loves when I play the guitar. She wants to play. She loves when I play any rock and roll. She'll start dancing. It's just that's the joy of complete joy for me, But yeah, when I listen to the newer stuff, even I don't even know what new metal is anymore, because it's not on TV. It's not on MTV.
Yeah. You have to look for it. Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's having Spotify is good. Having XM or satellite radio is good. Like if you want to get into, cuz what I used to do, like when I was DJing, is I would go on to, well, there's two sites that I went to. There was Mobile Beat Top 100, which gave you all the top 100 songs compiled by all the DJs across the country of what was the most requested. But as far as metal is, I would go on to the Sirius website, and go on to their top 10 every week for liquid metal, for hair metal, things like that. And that's how I discovered a lot of new bands that I never heard of. Like Amaranth, that band is amazing. Amaranth. And they're, I think they're Danish or from some Norwegian kind of country. And they have like three lead singers, one female, two male, and they're more like operatic metal, but not the kind you think of. It's not like, oh, it's not any of that. I mean, it's just very powerful vocals. So it's kind of like if you took, no, they're not that, but it's like if you took Evanescence and um Mark Portnoy's band, fucking, oh, the hell's the name of that band? Um, shit, now I can't think of the name of the band now. But yeah, it's like very like like the guys that do no, Bench Sevenfold, no. Oh, Mark Point, yeah, no, Mark Point, yeah, no, it's what's the name of that band? It's like they're like the Dream Theater, yes, Dream Theater. Yeah, it's like if you took Evanescence and Dream Theater and put them together, that's Amaranth. Because it's very like musical. They have like these crazy uh like time changes and I mean it's really good. Like their first two albums were amazing. The most current one I didn't really care for, but see, I like a lot of the instrumental stuff. Like take the words out and just give me the crazy bass. Give me like those like crazy guitar and like weird drum, just change it. I just love that for some reason. It's just something about like when you strip the words away, cuz like a lot of metal songs, like you can't understand what the hell they're saying anyway. So like what's the point of words if the listener doesn't understand what you're saying? Like how can you tell a story using words, you know? So like the music, that's what tells the story. And when you have the music, you can make up your own story. You know what I mean? And that's why I like instrumental so much. And it's great to jam to, because there's nothing to stop you.
Still need to. That's instrumentals are great, but you still need the words to round it out because then you get two-sided to not hearing the words. You need a balance there, and you got too many words. You can only be original once, you know. And for metal, death metal was Slayer. You can only be original once, you know. Every other band after Slayer could play like Slayer and scream like Slayer, but they're not Slayer, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, you can say that about any music. I mean, we wouldn't
True,
have rock and roll if it weren't for
true, but how much of the metal scene is influenced by Slayer, and just with how many screaming metal bands are there out there? So many you can't even count.
yeah.
You know, it's just like that stuff does get old fast to me, really fast. Yeah, yeah. And there's never going to be another Slayer. There'll never be another Maiden. There'll never be another Metallica. There'll never be another Megadeth. There'll be bands that are similar, but over the years, through our years, we're going to see things get more and more
Diluted.
diluted and dumbed down,
Yeah.
and it's just I think it's going to get worse and worse as we go, you know. And just I don't know. I like you. I like to be able to hear what the person is singing about.
Yeah.
And like what Slayer is a screaming metal, is a death metal, and you can still understand what he's singing.
Yeah. I mean,
You
Raining
know?
Blood, yeah, you can,
Yeah. You can make it. You can make it out. You know, it's not like "Whoa."
yeah. I can't do the.
Yeah, it's just like
Musically, I like it, but yeah, I couldn't. Like when I did the on Total Metal Radio, when I did the show there, they would have like the thrash nights. Like every Thursday was thrash night. I couldn't be a part of that because I can't. I mean, like there was Anthrax. I like some Anthrax songs when they did their thrash album. Some Slayer songs when they, because they're mostly thrash. But when you got into these other thrash bands, I'm like, what's the point, man? You can't even understand what they're saying. And it's so fast and so like all these blast beats. I mean, like there's no music left. Like they sucked all the music. It's all tempo and all distortion and all.
there's no
I can't get into it.
there's no nuance in it. There's
Right.
Right?
no
Yeah.
specialty. Nothing at
Yeah.
all that'll get you in
No
there.
special
And I don't
sauce.
understand what gets people into that except just the
Yeah.
part of being metal. You know?
Yeah.
Close. Too many things open. But yeah, it's crazy, you know. It was like what? I remember when the Weekend was one of the things that Cammy listens to a lot, and I can't stomach it listening to it. It's just like so awful, and it's one thing to me for say music to protest things and music to be a voice of things, but when it's so commercialized protest, when it's
Yeah.
so we've got to protest instead of organically protest, you know, like the Weekend was protesting when the Jacob Blake thing happened. You know, he won the
Okay.
awards and all that, and he was protesting that. And I'm like, fine, that's what you believe. Okay, fine, but you're it's so popularized to protest that stuff. You know, Johnny Cash wore black for the Vietnam War. Wasn't never popularized, but he did it his whole time, not just things. You know, a lot
Yeah.
of the great music we heard when we were younger were protests for the Vietnam War. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing like that. It's just like the movie PCU. You ever see that movie?
No.
No? Oh man, that's a bad. To me, that was a bad, funny Animal House ripoff made in the '90s with who's the guy? What's his name? The one that's the one that was the leader of Entourage. Remember the show Entourage?
I never watched it, but Matt Dillon?
Dillon wasn't in that. Was he? Yeah, Matt Dillon wasn't that. It was the other guy, the bald guy. He was the dean in
Bald.
Old School. Who's that guy? He was Ari in Entourage. You don't remember him?
I never watched.
Jeremy Piven. Jeremy Piven.
Oh, okay.
Jeremy Piven. You should watch that movie. It's funny bad, but it's another movie of our breakdown of life. I think, just like Idiocracy is. You know, it just things are such a level of say stupidity that we're at. We can't get to what is really about what is really about. If that makes any sense.
Not sure it did, but okay.
Don't worry. This is the
Yeah.
first of hopefully many.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh
Yeah. Do you like Pink,
no,
The artist?
the artist?
Really?
Really?
no.
I think she's really good. I think she's very talented, and I love her voice.
Maybe very talented, but what they play, mm-mm.
Oh, I think she's very raw. She has like a punk,
kind of attitude. Like I really, I don't know. I really like her as an artist, and I mean, I would love to go see her live because I know she puts on one hell of a show.
Mm.
Yeah,
Even
I don't
like
know.
even like Lady Gaga, like like I mean, as far as like mainstream poppy type, artists,
Mhm.
I like some Lady Gaga. There's nothing wrong with that. She actually went to school with a guy that I worked with, and he was saying that she was very, very shy, never talked to anybody, kept to herself, and she was always in the piano room, which makes sense. And now that you see her, and that's why she's wearing all those like wacky costumes, and I think it's more of a defense mechanism because she's insecure, and that's like, so she can. I'm just, guessing, but I'm thinking it's like that's like a barrier, that's like a wall for her, is to like, but I mean, her voice is incredible, you know,
Yeah,
and
I'll
I
give
think
her
that's
that.
what
Her
I go
voice
for
is
is like
definitely
people that can
there.
actually
sing
sing
and play
and
an
play an
instrument.
instrument, because that's so hard to find now. You know what I mean? Because like you have so many, artists that they can only sing, but to play it like what's her name? Uh Taylor Smith, or not Taylor, um what the is that her name? Taylor Swift. Yes, not Smith. Yeah, Taylor Swift. Like I mean she's not, I'm not in her demographic for sure, but the fact that she writes all her songs, she plays guitar, and she's got a good voice. I mean, I'm not a fan, you know, but there's a couple Taylor Swift songs. If they come on, I'll sing along. I'll bop along a little bit, you know, you know. But that's the thing. It's like I try to like, I try to, I'm a huge Weird Al fan, and not a, there's not a lot of people that are into heavy metal that have been through the stuff I've been through that are Weird Al fans. But I, and I think it was more because of my childhood, because like, when his first album came out, I was a kid, and that's why I like, and to this day, I mean, that's why I have his autograph tattooed on my leg. I mean, it's, that's like, I'm a ride or die Weird Al fan, but like, you know, a matter of fact, when I was at Dingbats, there was this one guy there. He was there to see, some show or whatever. And he started talking to Ronnie, and I guess Ronnie asked him. He's like, "Oh, what was your first concert?" And the kid said, "Oh, Weird Al." And so then he calls me over, and he's like, "Hey, this kid's a Weird Al fan. Show him your leg." And I was like, "Hey, look at this." And he's like, "Oh my God, that's so cool." And it's so hard to find people like my age, that will admit to liking. I mean, it's kind of like, I like New Kids on the Block, or I like NSYNC. It's like you don't want to admit it that you like them, And so it's like I almost feel like I'm embarrassed, but I shouldn't be. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be embarrassed to like Weird Al Yankovic. I mean, he's one of the best artists ever that have ever lived. I think the fact that he has survived this long doing parodies. I mean, there's nobody better, But the thing is it's like, to outlast some of these other bands, like big bands, like he's bigger. He's still selling out shows that some of these other bands that were huge, that were selling out arenas, they can't even book a casino at a lounge, you know. White Snake, is that what you said? Oh, come on, give.
Coverdell a break.
Oh, come on. No, they were there. I saw a couple interviews on that. They were really big with the MTV stuff.
Yeah.
you know, and same time, so was Def Leppard. But you know, as your sales go down and as your crowds go down because people get tired of music, you know, say Def Leppard went back to touring, like heavy touring. Whitesnake was never in a heavy touring because they were in a into the heavy video play. So Def Leppard can sell out an arena. Whitesnake cannot. You know,
Well, Whitesnake could open for Def Leppard.
they can, but they can't sell out a whole like 100-day tour. You know, they got to do smaller venues. You know, but it just like that. Like the music gets old, and if you're not trucking it, it's just going to get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Aerosmith, like they would have been done if it weren't for Run DMC. They were completely done. Nobody even cared about them. But then they did that. And MTV was huge for a lot of these bands, especially for Weird Al. If it weren't for MTV and them needing content, because MTV was brand new, they needed videos and he gave them videos. That was the only reason why he's made it as long as well, the reason why he got popular in the first place was because of that. Now, here's a little piece of trivia. What was the first video ever played on MTV?
Radio killed the video star.
By
Oh, I forgot who the name was.
Buggles.
The Buggles.
The Buggles.
I remember the video.
Radio star. Yep.
Yep. We're gonna have to go back to video soon enough because it's just like it's like you and I. I was like, I have no idea what new metal is out there, and I'm not gonna get a Spotify account. I'm not gonna do anything else. I have my iPod. That's all I need. You know, I'm not gonna know what's out there.
Yeah. Well, I think you'd be surprised. I think there's a lot of great bands out there that are very similar to the bands that we grew up with.
But will they go the 30 years like we hear? Or will they
Oh, of
just be
course
will
not.
this
No.
be like a
Well, because there's
10-year
too
span?
much content out there. There's just too
much.
much. There's,
Like
like when we were growing up, it's like you had the bands that made it. That's all you heard. But now there's so much. There's so much out there. Like if you just go on, like any band can have a was it a, not Venmo, a Vivo account. So that shows all your videos. Like with today, you could get your stuff out there, whereas MTV, unless you were at a certain level, nobody ever heard of you unless it was on the local scene. So like you were like the underground band, you were the local band, from LA or Seattle or whatever. But now everybody, you put out a song, you put out a video, everybody from all over the world can see it. It's very, very different now. And I think there's so much out there that's accessible to us. You can't possibly listen to everything. So I think like I said, if you go on to just go on to Sirius.com or SiriusXM.com and just look at their top 10 for liquid metal and hair metal or any of the metal, you'll see, or Octane. That's my favorite one, is Octane, because that's like the newer, like not like death metal stuff, because like the liquid metal, that's all like the older death metal and the newer death metal. I can't do that, but it's still good. They'll still play like some good stuff, like musically, but vocally, and not so much. But the Octane, that is like the stuff. Those are like the newer bands that play like Guns N' Roses or play like Metallica. So it's like you can understand the words. There's a meaning to the words. There's some kind of story, and musically it's good. So if you go on to like Octane and just look at the top 10 week to week to week, just listen to a couple, because like the Spotify is free. Like I have the premium account that I pay the $10 or $12 a month, but the Spotify is free, so you could just test it out and just type in a bunch of bands, or whatever, and you might stumble on somebody that like, oh shit, even if it's like one or two songs, you're like, oh my god, this is a great song, and it could inspire you to play your own stuff. You're like, oh, that was a cool riff. Like I wonder, like, oh, I like how they went from this change to this change. whatever, or that beat or whatever, and that could inspire you to play your own stuff. That's why I love listening to instrumental, because I'm like just tuned in to the music, and like I'll listen to like a good like kick-ass like instrumental, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I'll pick up the guitar, or I'll get it behind the drum set, and I'm like, and I'll try to play along with it. Or even though I'm not at all skilled enough to learn the song immediately, I'll still like, oh, I'll get the beat, and then I'll stop the song, and I'll come up with my own beat, or I'll come up with my own riff, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of what they were doing, and this is kind of how it's, and it's kind of cool. I like it,
Yeah.
But you'd be
Surprised.
surprised. Like there are a lot of new bands that you never heard of that
Yeah, I'll never
you
hear
would
of again.
probably get into.
Yeah,
What's that?
but the problem is all my time. My time is pretty much spoken for. And speaking of time, my time is so spoken for. I gotta hit the road there.
Yeah, no, that's cool, dude. We did 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Cool deal.
Well, thank you for being my first guest, and we had some fun. We'll have to do this again. Every time it'll get better. Yep. All right. So I'll because I didn't make a note of when that was, but I'll review the whole thing, and I'll try to cut that part out. Yeah. But you know what? To be honest, man, like no one's gonna. I don't think anyone's gonna see this.
That's why I
All right.
completely took a back road when it came to Cammy stuff. She doesn't want any of that stuff out there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'll before I post anything, yeah, I'll go back to that portion, and I'll just.
Now, where does this stuff get posted?
Just YouTube.
YouTube. Okay, so send me the link when you post it, because Carl definitely wants to see it too. But yeah, I'm up for this anytime we can, and just we'll have to have something, not like a format, but a focused topic, I would say.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, yeah, I don't want to focus too much on like schemes and scams and hoodwinks and whatever, but I just want to keep it whatever, just whatever we happen to start talking about. I mean, we went over all kinds of topics, so it was good. It was perfect. It was good. Yeah. I have no idea how it's going to sound because I'm recording on a Tascam for my voice, and I don't know if I put this over top of the audio from this, or I have no idea how it's going to work. So,
No clue.
We'll see.
Yeah. So.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
All right, man. Well, it's good talking to you. And yeah, I mean, I record every Friday night, Saturday night. So, and I know you're off on those nights. So, yeah. So if you want to make this every Friday night, we could do that, or every other Friday night, or whatever you want to do. We could do this tomorrow night if you want.
Yeah.
Whatever. So.
We'll work something out. Well, let me go. My kids want me to put them to bed.
Yeah. All right, man. It was good talking to you.
Be well.
Be well.
Later.
Stay safe.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.
Later. Bye-bye.